Okay, I'm calling this meeting to order at 3 o'clock. The NVUSD Board of Education is holding Okay, we are going to reconvene to open session at 7:01. Good evening. My name is David T. Gracia, and this is the Napa Valley Unified School District Board of Education. The NVUSD Board of Education is holding a regular board meeting tonight, and we invite participation either remotely or in person. Directions on how to participate via Zoom are available at nvusd.org/board. Interpretation in Spanish is available for tonight's virtual board meeting. Our interpreters are Vanessa Cardenas and Francisco Meza. One of the interpreters will now translate the directions on our English channel so our Spanish-speaking families may hear the instructions.
Yes, thank you. Sí, buenas tardes. Estamos ofreciendo interpretación para esta reunión de la Junta Escolar del Distrito Escolar Unificado de Napa Valley. En un momento van a ver un globo terráqueo en sus pantallas abajo. Por favor, púlsenle ahí donde dice Language Interpretation o interpretación del idioma para escuchar la interpretación de inglés a español. Si están en un teléfono móvil, van a ver 3 puntitos, háganle clic ahí y elijan su idioma de preferencia. Gracias. Thank you.
All right, thank you for that. Can we please start with an attendance roll call from Vera Morales, Executive Assistant?
Yes, Student Board Member Gomez,
Present.
Trustee Gracia,
Present.
Trustee Water,
Present.
Trustee Reiser,
Present.
Trustee Shu,
Present.
Trustee Jankowicz is absent tonight. Trustee Hart,
Present.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares,
Present.
quorum present. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, thank you for joining us tonight for the NVUSD board meeting. Section E1 is report on closed session. Trustee Reiser, do you have a report on closed session items?
Yes, item D1, student discipline expulsions. The board, I have to read this part. With respect to every item of business to be discussed in closed session pursuant to Ed Code 35146 and 48912.20, Government Code Section 49060 and 49078, and the Family Rights and Privacy Act. The board recommends the expulsion for student 05112023A.
We get a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
First by Trustee Chu, second by Trustee Hart.
We need a roll call.
Ms. Morales, can I get a roll call vote on this matter?
Yes, Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Reiser,
Aye.
Trustee Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Hart,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
And then with regards to item D2A, personnel, in closed session, the board took action to approve the following staff recommendation effective the 2023-24 school year. The appointment of Meshach Osborne to the position of principal at Browns Valley Elementary. The appointment of Manny Johnson to the position of assistant principal at American Canyon Middle School. And the appointment of Mark Holmes Simolino to the position of assistant principal at Silverado Middle School. Congratulations.
Ms. Page, do we have any of those folks in the audience that would like to speak?
We do, President Gracia. We have all of them here tonight. So I'd like to first invite Meshach Osborne to come on up to the podium if you'd like to say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. Just going to say a few quick words. First of all, I'd like to thank the Board of Trustees, Superintendent, Martha Franco, who gave me my first opportunity as an administrator last year, Dr. Battaglia in the back sitting with me, keeping me from being nervous today, and then as a wildcat, and then of course my family and friends for all your support and belief and love in me. And then And to the Browns Valley Bears, who have selected me as their new principal, girl, got a new one. Frank Silva, congratulations on a stellar career and enjoy your retirement. And I look forward to officially meeting the Browns Valley school community and the ones we put all our into our students from TK to 7 this year and then to TK 8 in the near future. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Osborne. Congratulations. And Nanny Johnson, would you like to come on up and say a few words?
Thank you. Welcome. Congratulations.
And Mr. Mark Simino.
Very good.
Mark, would you like to come on up?
Yeah, just wanted to say thank you for this opportunity. Thank you, board. Thank you to the superintendent. My wife and family are extremely happy for this because I no longer have to commute a ways. And I've got a little boy, a year-old and 3-year-old. So I am really excited for this opportunity and thank you so much.
Congratulations. Thank you.
All right, and then we'll move on to item E2, flag salute. If you'll please rise and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item E3, this meeting is live streamed and recorded via Zoom and will be archived on the district YouTube channel. For a detailed review of any meeting agenda item, the archived video can be referenced on the district's webpage at nvusd.org. The process for public comment can also be found on the district's webpage. All right, moving on to item E4, approval of the agenda. I move that we move item J2A ahead of item J1A and then make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
All right. All first by myself, second by trustee Gonzalez Maras. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. We'll now move on to item E5, approval of minutes. E5A, April 27, 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. All those in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Motion passes. Okay, E6, recognition of visitors and employee organizations. Ms. Page, do we have any visitors in attendance tonight? You have to hear next.
I don't see anybody in the room tonight, and I'm just quickly scanning online. I don't see anybody online as well.
Okay, thank you. Item F, recognition of students of the month. Item F1, American Canyon High School. Will Principal Lopez please present the students of the month for ACHS?
Yes, thank you. Good evening, NVUSD Board of Trustees. Thank you once again for this opportunity to recognize some fabulous NVUSD students from American Canyon High School. Our student of the month for March is Eli Rickard. Eli is a shining star of our advanced drama department and has played lead roles in multiple productions throughout the years. Recently, he played the lead in The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime and played an autistic boy. He managed to play the role so well that it brought a tear To my eye, his delivery of lines and confidence shined through the stage, and it was inspiring to say the least. He is a good student academically, no behavior or attendance concerns, and most importantly, he is the kind of student who is deserving of such an acknowledgement. Congratulations, Eli.
Thank you very much. I really do appreciate it. Well, first off, I would like to say thank you to everyone who's been there for me. But most of all, the biggest part that has contributed to my time here at ACHS and has contributed to the trajectory of my life are the friends that I not only had before high school, but the ones that I've made here. Going into high school was nerve-wracking, obviously, seeing as I was surrounded by kids much larger and older than I was. But even scarier was being one of the students in advanced trauma and being surrounded by kids who were much more experienced than I was. But I quickly learned that the students in that class weren't people to be fearful of, but instead people I could rely on. I began breaking out of my shell again, and I found myself with a group of friends who were here to support me through all my endeavors. Almost all of them have graduated now, but over the past 3 years, even through COVID, I've made many new friends through drama from all 4 grade levels. I now know what it was like for the upperclassmen when I was a freshman, and to some of the younger students, especially in Drama 1, since I'm a teacher's assistant, I feel like a tutor to them. It's been a wonderful meeting so many like-minded individuals that have shaped not only who I am as an individual, but who I will grow up to become. And I'm excited to finally graduate and move on to bigger things, but at the same time, it's going to be tough moving on from the school.
Thank you, Eli. And our next student of the month is Vidita Bat. Vidita is the ASB president. She's been in leadership for 4 years as an officer. She is also the founder of the ACHS Thirst Project and is a leader for UNICEF. She is one of the leaders of our Mu Alpha Theta Club, and she is currently leading the prom committee and has led too many to mention here over the past 4 years. She is a wolf through and through. Vidita also participated in the district student advisory committee last year and had thoughtful and valuable contributions to the group. Congratulations, Vidita.
Hi everyone. Apologies for my voice. This is not what I normally sound like, but my voice is recovering. So yeah. Thank you for this honor. I want to thank Dr. Musetti and the NVUSD Board of Education for this opportunity to be recognized. And I would also like to thank Mrs. Harris for nominating me. If there is one person who has shaped me the most at ACHS, it is without a doubt Mrs. Harris, my leadership teacher of 4 years. From my freshman year, Mrs. Harris has been a constant source of support and encouragement. She has taught me to trust the process, to lead with empathy, embrace change, and most importantly, to have faith in myself. I thank Mrs. Harris for believing in me, even in my times of struggle, and consider myself extremely lucky to call her my teacher and my mentor. I would also like to thank Mr. Ike, my 10th and 11th grade teacher, and now Mu Alpha Theta advisor, who has fostered my love for math and taught me to persevere through academic difficulty. And I would also like to thank Ms. Scheimer, who was the advisor for this project in its first 2 years. Without her, I would not have been able to create the wonderful community that our club has, and I'm truly grateful to have for her trust in me. Sorry. Serving ACHS as ASB president in various club officer positions and just being a volunteer for the school has been one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Getting to contribute to the nurturing environment that ACHS has been for me. ACHS has provided me with the opportunity to learn, make mistakes, and most importantly, have the support to get back up and continue growing. I'm grateful to attend a high school that empowers its students to pursue their goals, both academically and beyond the community. Lastly, I want to thank God and my parents for their endless support. This award is truly a reflection of my parents and their guidance and sacrifices. As I continue my academic journey at UCLA, as an applied math and data science major, I hope to create change in environmental policy and practice with using data to identify solutions. And I will always carry with me the values that ACHS has instilled in me. Again, thank you everyone for your time and for this recognition.
Thank you, Vidita.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to F2, Vintage High School. Will Principal Hutchinson please present the students of the month for Vintage High School?
Good evening. I want to thank the Board of Trustees for this opportunity to recognize our Vintage High School students. And this evening, I am proud to introduce two seniors, Jillian Harnois and Levi Rubin. Jillian is graduating from Vintage High School this spring, and she is an extraordinary student. She is driven, hardworking, and tenacious, and she is graduating in the top 10% of her graduating class. Over the last 4 years, she's taken numerous honors and AP courses and earned A's in all of them. And furthermore, she's been a part of our agriculture program the past 4 years here at Vintage. And outside of Vintage and in the community, she's been a part of the 4-H program for 9 years. Jillian is also involved in Teen Leaders for Youth, where she is a mentor for younger at-risk youth. She also raises her own cattle and shows animals in a far-reaching circuit all over the state and even outside of California. And this year, she's an officer for our Vintage High School FFA program, and she is serving as vice president. And her love for animals is something that she's extremely passionate about, and she plans to attend Texas A&M University in the fall, where she will be pursuing a major in animal science with a focus on livestock genetics. Congratulations, Jillian.
Oh no, that's too soon. Sorry, Jessica.
Hi, everyone. I would like to start by thanking Dr. Musetti and the board for acknowledging Levi and I and recognizing us for this award. I would like to thank Mr. Merkner for showing me that even in the toughest classes in high school, nothing is impossible without hard work, practice, and dedication. I would also like to acknowledge Ms. Powers. This has been her first year teaching, on top of running our school's farm, planning amazing FFA events, and advising an officer team that I am so grateful to be a part of. Her constant positive attitude and tenacity has truly inspired me. As I get closer to starting a new chapter of my life in college, I am realizing the importance of the incredible experiences I've had. I am very appreciative of the opportunities I've been exposed to through 4-H, FFA, and Vintage High School. These last 4 years, I have been raising and selling various livestock while balancing homework, studying softball, and participating in Napa FFA. I am beyond excited to attend Texas A&M in the fall, and I know I couldn't have been able to achieve my goals without the support of my teachers, parents, and family members. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jillian. And next, I'd like to introduce Levi Rubin. Levi is a graduating high school senior as well from Vintage, class of 2023. He is hardworking, kind, and determined. And during the past 4 years, he has also taken multiple honors and AP courses. And he has excelled in all of these and is now graduating in the top 10% of his class. In addition, while a student at Vintage, Levi has been a part of our band program, and he has truly enjoyed this experience. He began in band at Silverado Middle School, and this year Levi was drum major for us at Vintage. He plans to pursue his passion for music in college, and this fall 2023, he plans to attend UC Irvine, where he will be a part of the honors program there, and he will be pursuing a music major for jazz and saxophone. Congratulations, Levi.
Thank you. I'd like to start by thanking the board and Dr. Musetti for taking the time to recognize Jillian and I, but more importantly, I would like to thank the amazing teachers that I've had the privilege to learn with at Vintage, starting with Mr. Galvin for his contagious work ethic and genuine love for music, teaching students not only how to grow their musical abilities, but to also recognize the impact that learning musical instruments has on the rest of our lives. I'll carry the countless things that I've learned in the last 4 years in the instrumental music program with me for the rest of my life, whether it's musical skills and knowledge, or it's just general problem solving skills. Next, I would like to thank Ms. Lamont for her illuminating vulnerability that has made me come to appreciate literature in ways that I didn't know was possible and sparking my love of literature. Also, as an instrumentalist, I've had a lot of fun playing music and listening to my peers in her poetry club recite their original poems at various open mic events at Vintage over the past 2 years. I would also like to thank Mr. Merkner for his masterful clarity when explaining confusing new mathematical concepts, and also his superhuman ability to answer the poorly crafted questions my classmates and I often ask. His passion for teaching rubs off on his students, creating an environment where AP Calculus becomes surprisingly fun and satisfying despite its inherent challenge. Also, shout out Miss Merkner, his wife, for being awesome. Finally, I would like to thank Miss McGrath for her refreshing love for her students and the thought-provoking conversations she leads during class. Her ability to connect the text we are reading in class to our everyday lives and experiences has grown my love for all kinds of literature, something I am deeply grateful for. These are the teachers who deserve to be recognized for their incredibly underappreciated impact on students like me and many others, and I'm just incredibly grateful to have had them these past 4 years. I'm excited for the future. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Now we're going to move on to item G, which is public comment on non-agenda items. Trustee Riser, did we receive any public comment on non-agenda items via email?
No public comment on non-agenda items were submitted via email before 8 a.m. this morning.
Thank you. We do have 2 public comments in the boardroom. We're going to start with Norma Ortiz.
Hi, my name is Norma Ortiz, and I'm a Redwood Middle School student, and I recently went to the Cinco de Mayo event, which was hosted at Redwood Middle School, and there was an art and an essay contest, and I won the essay contest, so I just wanted to share a little bit of that. So I was basically talking about how Redwood Middle School has helped me shape my Chicano identity. So it says Redwood Middle School has helped me shape my bilingual identity and background, and says I take pride in my Chicano ethnicity, and this school has helped pave the way to that journey. For example, learning at Redwood has helped me become comfortable and confident to express who I am and others. Redwood has teachers of ethnicities from all over the world to share their own background, culture, and stories. Also, I have Spanish books in the library that I can relate to. I'm able to contribute to class discussions about our Mexican culture, part of my identity. When I ask questions, my teachers always know the answers, and at Redwood, many of my peers come from different ethnic backgrounds. Redwood has helped me shape who I am and where I'll be in the future, and a good human being. First, teachers are very diverse and inclusive towards everyone. My teachers don't discriminate towards any race or gender, and they teach us about immigrant experience growing up in this country. For example, I remember in 7th grade, my social studies teacher, Mr. John Burns, had amazing stories about World War II, and would always share his Italian background. I was so going to his class because he would always share stories about General Harvey and about the Italian food his mom was smoked when he was younger. In addition, my language arts teacher, Mr. Giulio, came from Italy, so did all her family, and she shows that life for her father has always been easy coming from Italy to the United States. Those teachers have taught me to never be afraid to show who I am regarding my Latino roots. Both Mr. Giulio and Mr. John Burns are very confident people who love to show their Italian background. This has inspired me to show my Chicano background too because of these comfortable spaces. Next, there are wonderful opportunities at Redwood. For example, there's this really great teacher, a social studies teacher called Miss Trot, and she hosts really fun events. Like one time she brought little court judges to our classroom, and we were able to defend our cases. And I was for Zanesville School District, and I was defending that case, and I won, and it was really fun. And she also kind of inspires me because she like is really, she loves to do her job. Like she's really talented too. Like she always shows me how to do better and shows all her class that everyone can always grow and change and that your mistakes, you can always grow from them. And that really like empowers me to do better too. And this is the art that I did for the art contest for Red Bull. And then that's it.
Thank you. All right, and the next public comment is from Norma Ortiz.
Hello, good evening, Board of Education and the community as a whole. My name is Ron Ortiz. I'm also proud to be part of Redwood Middle School family. In terms of the previous public comment, previous board meeting, I left an item a little bit inconclusive, and I wanted to continue with the parent survey, needs assessment survey that I did at that time back in February at our ELAC meeting. And I'm going to mention both Spanish and English. So, ¿qué podemos hacer para ayudar mejor a su estudiante a nivel local y de distrito? Ayudarle para que pueda aprender mejor y resolver los problemas de las materias. So, how can we better support your student at a local and district level? Help so he could learn better and resolve the problems in each subject area. ¿Qué desafíos académicos podría tener su estudiante en este momento? What academic challenges might your student have at this time? Reading, writing, and reading comprehension. Areas of student growth. The student, according to the parent, grew in English and math. The same questions were asked to another parent, and these are anonymous. The parent answered. Programas después de clases, más actividades como artes o deportes para mantener los niños ocupados. Programs after school, more activities like arts and sports to keep the students kind of busy. In terms of response to question 2, ella tiene un poco de problema en matemática. She has some sort of challenges, learning challenges in math. Areas of growth, social and emotional. And how can the same questions to a third parent? And the parent said, seguir haciendo juntas como estas, keep on informing us with these types of meetings. Response to question 2, social studies and English, growth, what areas of growth, PE. In terms of LCAP, I have some suggestions for English Language Learner Parent Advisory Committee. Have more time to review information before it goes to the board for the possibility of approval and provide sufficient input. Have the time to provide sufficient input and ask questions on the parent side. LCAP presentation, increase to improve services, but also mention like highlights containing reflections of success, but also identify needs and the possibility of self-reps consultation, including dashboard. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment online?
We have no online public comment.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to item H, which is reports. Item H1, Board of Education and Student Representative. Student Board Member Gomez, would you like to start?
Yes, of course. So for the last few weeks, I've had the opportunity to serve on the Student LCAP Advisory Council. I've worked with a number of very bright and motivated students from every NVUSD high school, and we've worked together to select the most pressing matters that we would like to be addressed in next year's LCAP. We've conducted focus groups at each of our respective sites in order to receive additional input from NVUSD students that we believe effectively represent the rest of the district.
This group has been very productive, and I believe that what we've come up with, which will be presented at our next meeting, is only going to strengthen the district, as it will aim both our focus and resources at the issues students most strongly want to be addressed. I would like to thank Assistant Superintendent Andrew Jennings, as well as Director Reddy, for putting the student council together, because it is a crucial piece of improving the state of our district and the experiences of the students. I would also like to acknowledge that this week is Staff Appreciation Week. I would like to thank all of my own teachers from West Park Elementary to Redwood Middle School and now Vintage High School. I've made extremely strong connections with a number of teachers throughout my time in NVUSD, and I hope that every teacher is able to feel appreciated from students who they've connected with over the years. And finally, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. I bring up the importance of mental health a lot because its importance can never be overstated. I think that NVUSD has done a great job at aiming adequate resources towards combating the mental health crisis. And with the soon to be implemented LCAP, I know that student mental health will remain at the forefront of what we prioritize, which is not just important, but absolutely necessary. So it's encouraging to be able to witness this within our own district. And that concludes my report. Thank you. Trustee Gonzalez-Myers.
I have no reports at this time.
Thank you. Trustee Hart.
Okay, I'm going to go backwards here, starting from last night. I had the pleasure of sitting in on the Parent Learning Series webinar with Dr. Victor Rios, talking about the ecosystems of Carino that he's working on here at NVUSD, which was very informative. And he gave a very touching bit of his background and how he's gone from being a student that he, started at 4.0, wasn't a 4.0 student, wasn't a 3.0 student, wasn't even a 2.0 student, and all the way to the point where he is now, which was very inspiring and great to hear about what he's doing here at the district level. On Monday, I had the pleasure of visiting my alma mater, Redwood Middle School, with Trustee Water and taking a tour of there. The last time I had stepped foot on that campus was 1990, so it's been a minute. Not a lot has changed. The buildings are very much the same at this point, but it was great to see the kids in action and see a working middle school and see all of a lot of smiling faces, a lot of really happy kids, and it was great to see. And then last Wednesday, again on the Parent Learning Series, was the Fentanyl Parent Awareness Night, which was a very frightening but very educational evening that talked about the need for fentanyl awareness, especially in our community. It is something that is occurring here in Napa even, and it was great to get that disseminated out to the parents. So thank you for those of you that were part of putting those on for us. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Chu.
So on April 29th, I had the pleasure of watching the ACHS musical Newsies. It was fabulous. I think all of our performances from all of our students are always so fabulous. This is why I enjoy going so much, and had a whole bunch of my friends come who were not yet in high school as well. So I hope they're going to be inspired to have promote, get their kids into the theater arts too, along with actually Trustee Water was with me. And I was also listening in on the Parent Learning Series. Those are always very informative. And it's always, Victor Rios is always fabulous. I think this is the third time I'm listening to him. Can't get enough of him. I think, it totally resonates to our community really about what it is to have that level of care. And I think our teachers all embrace this culture for our students. On the 5th, I attended the coffee with the principal at Canyon Oaks. I think that's actually my last one as an elementary school parent, so a little bit emotional, but it was always good to connect with families then. And of course, actually last week, a couple of our schools had a teacher appreciation, and this week our district is doing that. So thank you, teachers, for taking such good care of our children. May, in addition to Mental Health Awareness Month, is also Asian Pacific American Heritage Month. So I wanted to acknowledge that for our communities, especially down in American Canyon, where we have such a large AAPI population. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Reiser.
Thank you. I was sorry to miss the show of Newsies at ACHS. I had to can't change my plans to go see the Napa High a cappella group perform at the Palace of Fine Arts in on that April 29th night. May 1st, I attended a reception at Art Gallery Napa Valley that featured student artists that had submitted artworks for consideration to be hung at the US Capitol in DC. So there were 3 NVUSD students featured: Vivian Barrett, Jennifer Pon, and my daughter Maya Prouty. And it was an artist from Sonoma, I believe, was selected to actually hang in the tunnel between the Capitol buildings. So congratulations to that student. But it was really, I was grateful to see the local art gallery just contributing their space, donating their space. And I guess they've done this a few years in a row. And it's just a really nice connection between the community and student artists, and just a special experience for those kids. We had a special board meeting on May 4th that I attended. On May 5th, I, for the second year running, got to attend one of the presentations at Pueblo Vista, the pollinator program. So many thanks to Principal Helen Roca, and also to the kindergarten teacher, Jacqueline Echevarria. I was incredibly impressed to hear a great deal of factual information about bees in English and Spanish. I learned a lot, and it was the cutest thing I've seen in quite a while. So there's that too. And then to student board member Gomez's point, in honor of May being Mental Health Awareness Month, we celebrated at NVUSD the opening of the Napa High Wellness Center. So I attended that 2 days ago, along with a few other trustees here to my right. And just really impressive and amazing to see the program and the model that we've developed here in the district. And I know that it's really one that other districts are looking to try to scale up themselves. And I will just say that I believe that the long-term impact over time of the culture shift that we are nurturing here by prioritizing mental health and wellness, and by utilizing a space at on the campus that's accessible to all students at any time. I just think that that is an incredibly powerful skill that we're teaching our kids to regulate themselves, to recognize if they need a few minutes break. We all as human beings have those moments when we would really benefit from a step away. And so I think we're really empowering our students to self-regulate and to take care of themselves. And I'm just really proud of that model, and happy that our students have that. And that concludes my report.
Thank you. Trustee Water?
Okie dokie. On Saturday, the 29th of April, I did go see Newsies at American Canyon High School. It was a wonderful production, and I enjoyed going with my colleague, Dr. Chu, and the other Cindy Biederman from the Napa County Office of Education, and your son. And it was just fun. It was great. And then let's see, the day before that, we had a legal recap. That was a special meeting for a few of us, and that was interesting. And then on the 2nd, I went to see Mr. Arroyo's class at the Pollinator Showcase at Pueblo Vista. And it was very funny. I walked in, and a little boy recognized me because I'm always hanging around his mother's bookstore. It was really funny. And then I saw Miss Darcy Ward. Her little boy gave a presentation, and the students were so proud. And I learned how to make a non-toxic insect spray that won't kill the bees. And I was really proud, and it was given in Spanish and in English. So I got to review my Spanish. I'm very grateful. And then on the 4th, I attended a special board meeting. And oh yes, I tuned in on the fentanyl awareness, which is absolutely terrifying. And we need more of these community information sessions, because I thought I knew a lot about it, but I learned something new, and that I wish I didn't need to know about. And on the Monday the 8th, yes, Trustee Hart and I met Principal Hartnack at Redwood Middle School, and we walked around and saw some really great teaching. I particularly enjoyed Mike Wilmarth's math class because I have math was never my subject, but I was learning something in there, and I saw excellent use of technology. I saw his warm personality and fostering kids communicating with each other and not being afraid, to speak out because we're all learning here. And I also noticed, because I learned about Dreambox, I noticed he had Dreambox on the board, and he had some assignments set up that related to what they were studying in class, a way for kids to make up some homework. So I thought that was a great use of Dreambox. It was a lot of fun, good teaching. And then I also went to the Wellness Center, and in closing, yeah, we had a great time. And in closing, I would like to say to Miss Norma Ortiz, I'm not surprised you won the essay prize at all. And once again, I'm just wowed by our students of the month. And Levi, wherever you are, you practically had me in tears talking about what literature meant to you. That's wonderful. And just best of luck to all 4 students. And don't you have something to tell us about your plans for next year? Are you waiting? I mean, I thought it was exciting.
Yeah, I'll be studying economics at Northwestern University.
You've got an alum here, reading for you.
Now I got to drive in.
Okay. And that's the end of my report.
Thank you. So I also attended the fentanyl awareness presentation. Was pretty amazing to hear that they had seized enough doses to kill more than the entire population of the United States last year. So that was very shocking. And then on the 4th, I attended the special board meeting. And on the 9th, I also attended the Napa High School Wellness Center open house. And then yesterday, I took a ride on the special ed bus starting at the bus center. We picked up all the kids and we dropped them off at Snow. When we returned to the ed center after that then and dropped the bus off. This was a very cool opportunity to experience a little bit of how the NVUSD bus system works. And I appreciated that chance to experience the bus ride in the morning. I would also like to take this opportunity to recognize all of our employees, as this is Staff Appreciation Week. And without your hard work, we wouldn't be able to accomplish our goals of educating our students. Thanks again for all that you do. And that ends my report. We'll now move on to H2 board representative reports. H2A, Special Education Community Advisory Committee.
The committee has not met since our last board meeting.
Okay. H2B, City of American Canyon Liaison Representatives.
We have not met.
H2C, City of Napa Liaison Representatives.
We have not met.
H2D, Town of Yountville Liaison Representatives. We had a meeting scheduled, but it had to be rescheduled, so we have also not met. H3, Executive Staff Reports.
Thank you, President Gracia, Board of Trustees, and Student Representative Gomez. I'm happy to be substituting for Dr. Massetti this evening at the dais alongside the NVUSD Board of Education Trustees this evening. Dr. Massetti is missing her first board meeting this evening in the 5 years that she has served as our superintendent, and it's for a great reason. She was invited to participate in a selective superintendent forum to discuss statewide policy issues impacting California public schools in San Diego for 2 days. She is excited to participate in this convening where she has the opportunity to represent the voices of California mid-sized districts like NVUSD. She's always grateful to be invited into spaces where she can make contributions to statewide discussions about issues and challenges school districts like ours are facing. Dr. Massetti has prepared me well for this experience with lots of cross-training on how to serve as the secretary to the Board of Education during a board meeting. So I am very grateful for this learning opportunity. For my usual HR report tonight, I want to say happy Staff Appreciation Week to all of our employees in the NVUSD. I hope everyone is feeling especially recognized and cared for. We kicked off the week on Monday with a wonderful video produced by our communications team, Julie Bordis and Chris Reddy. I want to thank Dr. Massetti, Assistant Superintendents Pat Andre Jennings, Mike Pearson, Rob Mangwala, and President Gracia for making cameo appearances in the video, along with many employees from around the district featured in a delightful photo montage of the wonderful work that they do every day. On Tuesday, we recognized those individuals who met longevity milestones this year through a longstanding tradition of giving them a lovely commemorative pin, which fits nicely on a lapel or a lanyard. On Wednesday, Gina DeLuca conducted a virtual giveaway. The prizes were donated from people in our community. She invented this game last year using a little spin the wheel app, and sites and departments can tune in using a Zoom link throughout the day at a designated time for the excitement of watching her spin a virtual wheel and to see who wins what. It's surprisingly entertaining and fun and a great way to include everyone without people having to miss out because they couldn't leave their site or they had other obligations. Today is my favorite day, is NVUSD Swag Day. It's the day when our employees receive a much needed supply, which happens to be branded with our NVUSD logo. This year, we are solving the problem of where to hang your keys and where to put your longevity pin with a lovely lanyard, NVUSD lanyard. And they were handed out today along with a little something extra for added sweetness. I want to thank the HR team led by Nora Stragoning for their efforts in assembling and delivering the celebratory supplies. And finally, tomorrow is the official last day for sites and departments to celebrate Employee Appreciation Week together with some kind of gathering, special event, or gift. And I want to thank all the parent clubs for their contributions to the sites and the Boys and Girls Club for the wonderful posters the kids made for our departments. I also want to thank Ben and Jerry's and Napa Sleep Number Bed for offering employee discounts this week. Again, happy Employee Appreciation Week. Finally, I would like to wish all of the mothers a beautiful day of celebration and recognition this Sunday. I especially want to acknowledge my mom, Carol, who is probably watching tonight, and let her know that I love her more than words can really express. Thanks, Mom. And this concludes my report. That's right. Next, we'll hear from Assistant Superintendent Pat Andre Jennings, who leads our Instructional Services Division.
Thank you, Assistant Superintendent Page. Good evening, President Gracia, Board Trustees, Assistant Superintendent Page, Student Board Representative Gomez, and the NVUSD community. There continues to be a tremendous amount of progress being made on the annual board priorities in the Instructional Support Services Division. Tonight, I'd like to spotlight on the progress being made on board annual priority number 3, which is strengthening early learning programs. Over the course of this year, a team of 41 teachers has engaged in the powerful and transformative knowledge building of the language essentials for teachers of reading and spelling, or LETRS training. I would like to honor the work of these teachers who are finishing up year 1 of a 2-year commitment. They have completed the first half of the coursework, focusing on deepening their understanding of the challenges of learning to read and foundational literacy skill development. At the close of this first year, participants would have completed roughly 60 hours of coursework for the LETRS program, 3 in-person Saturday trainings led by a LETRS facilitator, and 3 after-school LETRS huddles. The NVUSD huddles have also proved to be a valuable time for teachers to collaborate and gain new learning from one another, and that positively impacts their instruction. Our elementary district academic specialist hosted the final NVUSD huddle this afternoon, and the final in-person Saturday training will be on May 20th. Based on the success of the first cohort, we are seeing significant interest in expanding the LETRS Science of Reading training. Pending board approval this evening, we will enroll over 60 kindergarten through fifth grade teachers in the next cohort, plus 10 transitional kindergarten teachers in the early literacy program, and 11 administrators in the 1-year administrative program. And I believe Dr. Massetti will be joining that cohort as well. We look forward to sharing the impact of this intensive professional learning on student literacy outcomes in NVUSD in the coming years. Later this evening, you will hear an annual report from our District English Learner Advisory Committee, or DLAC. President Cindy Ramirez, Vice President Roberta Hernandez, Secretary Elba Marquez, and 2 parent representatives, Yuri Silva and Antonio Covarrubias, will share the leadership activities of the DLAC this year. I'm eager for the board and the community to hear about the opportunities that we've provided to parents to develop their leadership skills. And lastly, I want to take a moment in honor of Staff Appreciation Week to thank the NVUSD staff, particularly the staff in the Instructional Support Services Division. I am constantly inspired by the dedication and joy they bring to work each and every day. And before I conclude my report, I wanted to thank Student Board Rep Sam Gomez for attending and engaging actively in our student LCAP advisory. Thank you so much. And then also take a moment, I heard several times about how informative the parent learning series have been. And I want to thank Viviana Loera, who is the coordinator of parent engagement, for organizing, coordinating, hosting, planning all of those. So thank you to her as well. So thank you. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Ms. Andrew Jennings. Next, we'll hear from Assistant Superintendent Rob Manguala, who leads our Business Services Division.
Thank you very much. The Data and Assessment Department continues to support sites with LPAC, CASP, and STAR testing. We are down to our last few students who need to complete the LPAC test. We anticipate CASP and STAR testing will be completed by Memorial Day weekend. We look forward to sharing preliminary CASP results with the board later this summer and STAR results at the June 22nd board meeting. The enrollment team members will be working at Donaldson Way Elementary School on Wednesdays between May 17th and June 6th. These dates will be promoted within the community, and the team will focus on helping families with TK and K students register for school. The team continues to enroll students for both current school year and the 23-24 school year, and is monitoring numbers closely. So just to be clear, we're literally still enrolling students for this current year. So it's a shock for teachers sometimes for students that show up in May, and sometimes we get questions about that, but you know, we are required to enroll students when they come, even if it's on the last day of school. So the governor released the May revision to the proposed budget for the next school year sometime tomorrow morning. So if you get a chance to watch it on YouTube, most likely it will be on YouTube sometime tomorrow. It's pretty much past practice. We anticipate that the budget will reflect reduced revenues. Or we know it will reflect reduced revenues. We're hoping to receive some clarity on the cost of living adjustment. We know that inflation has been running around 8%. The statutory COLA is actually 8.22%. And so that's just a function of math. It's something that they just calculate. And so the big question is will they actually fund it or not? And if they fund it, what triggers will they put in place to claw back money next year if revenues don't come in where they think they're going to? The technology team continues to support our students and staff as the school year winds down. With all the end of the year assessments, we're dedicated to making sure our network and devices are fully functional without interruption. As we near the end of the school year, site staff and faculty should be looking for the end of the year checklist, which includes important guidance on what to do with classroom technology over the summer. We also continue to gear up for summer projects that include important network and infrastructure improvements. It is essential that we keep up with evolving technology standards to give our users the best safest experience possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Manguala. Finally, we will hear from Assistant Superintendent Mike Pearson, who leads our Facilities and Operational Services Division.
Good evening, President Gracia, NVUSD Board of Education trustees, Assistant Superintendent Dan Page, Student Board Representative Sam Gomez, and members of the NVUSD community. I just want the community to know I purposely sat here in the first seat so I'd be called on first. That didn't happen. It's okay. But now I know. Thank you for providing me an opportunity to update all of you on operational services. As usual, my comments will focus on strategic plan goal number 4. In operational services, all departments that comprise operational services, which includes maintenance and grounds, custodial operations, food service, and transportation, are gearing up for a very busy summer school and extended year program that starts the week of June 19th. Almost every school in NVUSD has a summer of programming happening during June and July. But thankfully, our operational services team has an amazing crew of dedicated professionals who will be ready to meet the various needs required throughout the summer months. Additionally, since this is Employee Appreciation Week, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank and recognize the employees who comprise the backbone of NVUSD. Without the energy, commitment, and professionalism of the custodians, our food service, our maintenance and grounds, and our transportation staff, classrooms and other facilities would not be ready to receive staff and students. Students would not be fed 2 nutritious meals daily, nor could students requiring transportation be brought to and from school daily. We're very fortunate to have such an amazing classified staff to support students and staff. As President Gracia mentioned, I would like to thank bus driver Jan Quaid for taking President Gracia and Superintendent Musetti on her morning bus route this past Wednesday, May 9th. Thank you, President Gracia and Dr. Musetti for joining Jan and her students on such an early hour. They really appreciated your company. And then in facilities, just briefly in tonight's board agenda, there's an action item to approve 8 very eager and excited members for Measure A2 Citizens Bond Oversight Committee. As I've shared previously, each applicant has attended an information session to learn more about the role and responsibility of a CBOC member, which included a question and answer with current Measure H Chair, Mrs. Barbara Franco, which I think was really helpful for our members. Additionally, I shared with the potential applicants that there is absolutely no financial compensation to serve on this committee. Fortunately, this didn't deter their enthusiasm of any applicant. For any applicant, my staff and I are still accepting applications to be part of the Measure A2 CBSC for American Canyon residents, along with the applicants for Measure H CBSC, which can be composed to American Canyon and or Napa residents. And anyone interested in submitting an application can visit the school district's website to learn the next steps. Thank you, and that concludes my report.
Thank you. I think we'll move on now to item I, the approval of the consent agenda. Background information on these items is provided to the board prior to the meeting. A common motion takes action without discussion on a roll call vote unless discussion of items is requested by a board member.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Thank you. Ms. Morales, can I get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, Student Board Member Gomez,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Ricer,
Aye.
Trustee Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Hart,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now we'll move on to item J, presentations and discussion items. And then we'll move to J2, instructional services, J2A, DLAC presentation.
President Gracia, Board of Trustees, Student Board Member Gomez, Assistant Superintendent Page, and the NVUSD community. Director Reddy and I are joined this evening by Viviana Loera, our Parent Engagement Coordinator, and Arisbeth Coral, our Migrant Education Coordinator. And together we are pleased to introduce the NVUSD DLAC presentation. We all work very closely with this group of parents, and we're very honored to present them this evening. Next slide, please. Thank you. So our presenters this evening are our DLAC President, Cindy Ramirez, our DLAC Vice President, Roberto Hernandez, our DLAC Secretary, Elba Marquez, our DLAC representative, ELAC representative at Napa High School, and DLAC representative, Mr. Yuri Silva, and our Donaldson Way ELAC President and American Canyon High School DLAC representative, Antonia Covarrubias. So they'll be presenting to you this evening, and Director Reddy will present to you an overview of their session.
Thank you, Director Manning. Next slide, please. And good evening, Board of Trustees, Assistant Superintendent Page. Tonight, we have the opportunity to partner with our parent representatives
where they will share with you about the evolution of the DLAC and parent leadership in NVUSD, with the opportunity to hear the stories from some of our parents who have engaged in this work. And we'll close this evening with you hearing about the future goals and needs for our multilingual learners as our parents lead our families in NVUSD through our DLAC.
Thank you. And at this time, we would like to have our interpretation changed so that the interpreter is here with us. So we will be having consecutive interpretation this evening.
Who is going to be presenting first?
Our first presenter is President Cindy Ramirez.
Nuestro presidente, primera oradora es presidente Cindy Ramírez.
Buenas tardes a todos, a cada uno, mesa directiva y todos los que están presentes y los que están por vir. Mi nombre es Cindy Ramírez y hoy soy presidente de Comité Asesor de Aprendices de Inglés de NVUSD.
Yes, good evening, everyone. My name is Cindy Ramirez. I am the, okay, hold on a second. I thought I would have this here. I am, let's see, I don't have the interpretation for this as I did with the other ones. ¿Puede repetir eso, por favor?
This is President Cindy Ramirez, the president of our DLAC.
Sí, presidente de DLAC. All right, okay. Go ahead, please. Poquito más, the shorter sentences, please. We're more used to doing simultaneous interpretation here. Oops. Sorry. Adelante, por favor.
Buenas tardes, mesa directiva
Good evening, Board of Directors,
y todos los que están presentes y los que están en vía Zoom.
and everyone here present and on Zoom.
Mi nombre es Cindy Ramírez y soy presidenta
My name is Cindy Ramirez, and I am the president
del Comité Asesor de Aprendices de Inglés del Distrito DLAC
of the Assessor Committee of District DLAC,
del NVUSD.
of NVUSD.
Buenas tardes a todos. Como ya dijo Mr. Osborne, estamos un poco nerviosos.
Good
Pero-
evening, everyone. As said, we are a bit nervous today.
Pero más que nerviosos, estamos emocionados por estar aquí con ustedes.
But more so than nervous, we're actually more excited being here present with you all.
Yo soy Roberto Hernández y soy el vicepresidente de DILAC.
My name is Roberto Hernandez, and I'm the vice president of DLAC.
Hoy tenemos el honor delante de ustedes de presentar nuestro comité asesor de
Today-
NVUSD.
Today, we have the honor of presenting our our assessor committee, NVUSD,
La evolución de nuestro DLAC
and the evolution of DLAC
desde el año 2015
since the year of 2015
hasta esta actualidad.
until the present.
Si ustedes pueden ver en su pantalla,
And as if you could see here on your screen,
en el año 2015, 2016,
in the year of 2015 through 2016,
2016, 2017,
and 2017 and 18,
nuestro DLAC era una reunión de carácter informativo,
our DLAC was a meeting of informative nature,
en donde el padre de familia, representante de ILAC,
where the parent, the family parent representative of ELAC
llegaba, escuchaba,
would get here and would listen
y aprobaba toda información.
and would approve all the information.
En el 2017-2018,
In 2017 through 2018,
nuestra participación
our participation
en las reuniones de DELAC
in our meetings at DELEC
es una participación escrita.
this was a written participation,
Mínima participación,
minimal participation,
donde escribíamos en unos papeles grandes
where we would write in large billboards or papers,
y contestábamos preguntas cerradas,
and we would answer closed-ended questions
respuestas cerradas.
and answers, closed-ended answers.
En el 2018 al 2019 tenemos
2018 to 2019, we have here, adelante.
tenemos una gran oportunidad
We have a great chance.
un cambio en la administración de NVUSD
Of a great change in the NVUSD staff or administration,
y nos convocan
and they're calling us to join
a una conferencia
a conference
llamada
called
Padres Involucrados,
Involved Parents
Hijos Exitosos,
of Successful Children
con el señor Jaime Carías.
with Mr. Jaime Carías. This was
Uno de los grandes goles
one of the great goals
de nuestro distrito,
of our district,
que gracias a nuestra superintendente,
thanks to our principal or superintendent,
doctora Museri,
Dr. Musetti.
abre este espacio
I open the space here
para el involucramiento
for the involvement,
casi masivo
almost massive,
de padres de familia.
of family parents.
Esta actividad
And this activity
se desarrolla en el auditorio del distrito
is being held at auditorium, the district auditorium,
estaba direccionado
and it was intended
a padres de familia,
for parents,
pero nos hicimos presentes
but we made our voices present or heard.
familias completas,
¿Cómo?
familias completas,
Oh, whole families,
mamá, papá e hijos,
mom, dad, and children,
porque el tema
because the topic
llamaba la atención
was interesting
para hacer una conferencia
to have a conference,
familiar.
a family conference.
Esto provocó
So this caused
un inicio de algo,
an initiation of something,
un cambio,
a change,
un cambio de pensamiento,
a change in thinking,
un cambio de involucramiento.
and a change of involvement.
Y DILAC fue diferente,
And ELAC was different
porque los padres
because parents,
estábamos aprendiendo
we were learning
la parte importante que somos
the important part that we are
en la vida de estudiante
in
de
the
nuestros
life,
hijos.
in the lives of our children's, or our children's lives, and the students.
En el año 2019 al 2020,
In the year of 2019 through 2020,
se nos viene el COVID-19.
we had COVID-19,
Pero DELAC
But DLAC
siguió funcionando
kept on working,
y lo hizo vía Zoom,
and they did everything through Zoom,
donde se abre el espacio
where the space was opened
para una participación verbal
to have verbal participation.
y nos dividen
And then they divided us
en dos grupos de trabajo,
in 2 work groups,
panelistas
panelists
y el sector público,
and the public sector,
dándonos la oportunidad
giving us the opportunity
de poder expresarnos
of being able to express ourselves
verbalmente,
verbally.
además
In addition
de aprender
of learning
como padres
as parents,
la tecnología.
learn to use technology.
Si usted se da cuenta y está observando
If you notice, and if you can see,
cómo el padre
of
y
how
el
the
hijo
father and the son,
vamos avanzando
or children, we advance
junto con nuestro distrito
along with our district
a la actualización,
to get caught up
al aprendizaje
and to learn,
y a la enseñanza
and of teaching,
de padres involucrados, hijos exitosos.
of involved parents to have successful children.
Era un gol, fue un gol del distrito.
That was
Fue-
a goal. The district was a goal.
Fue algo que marcó la diferencia.
And it's something that made a difference.
Llenamos el auditorio del distrito.
We filled the district auditorium,
Nos alimentamos
and we were nourished
intelectualmente
intellectually,
y pudimos ser diferentes
and we were able to be different
en nuestras casas.
at home.
En el año 2020,
In the year
En es-
2020,
en ese año del 2019 al 2020,
from 2019 through 2020,
se celebra un DELAC estructurado,
a structured DLAC was celebrated
muy bien organizado,
that was really well organized,
con un tiempo estipulado,
with a stipulated time.
abierto para todo el que quiera estar presente.
And it was open for everyone that wanted to be present,
Pero esto no se quedó ahí,
but that didn't stay like that,
porque habíamos saboreado
because we had already tasted
en que podíamos aprender más.
that we were able to learn more.
Entonces, en el 2020-2021,
So then in 2020 through 2021,
se celebra la primera elección y votación de nuestro primer comité,
we had our first celebration and vote of our first committee,
presidente, vicepresidente y secretario.
president, vice president, secretary.
Nuestra primer comité organizado,
And our first organized committee,
padres representando a nuestros padres y a nuestros hijos,
parents representing our parents and our children,
junto y de la mano con el NVUSD,
all working hand in hand with NVUSD,
caminando
walking together
por esa experiencia
through that experience,
educativa,
that educational experience
estudiantes.
with the students.
En este momento yo voy a hacer una pausa,
So at this time, I'll pause
abrir el espacio
and I'll open the space
para darle la apertura,
to give an
la
opportunity.
oportunidad
Mhm.
de quien ocupó la primer silla de presidente en DELAC.
To present to the first person that had the honor of serving as president for DLAC,
Está con nosotros
who is
La-
here with us today,
quien fue la que primero saboreó
who was the first one that tasted this.
esta hermosa experiencia
this marvelous experience
de representar
to represent
a los padres de NVUSD.
parents of NVUSD.
En este momento,
So at this time,
Next slide, please.
siguiente diapositiva, por favor.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you for having us here. As Cindy mentioned, we are here to talk in regards to the DLAC leadership cohort. Estamos aquí para hacer un reporte acerca del grupo de liderazgo de DLAC y su evolución. Empiezo, here I will be starting. As mentioned, I was honored to be the first DLAC representative that went into a voting committee and that we were able to go through the structure that was implemented for the first time. Tuve el honor de poder ser la primera presidenta de DLAC usando la estructura que se estaba implementando por primera vez. Next slide, please. Siguiente. Solamente estoy aquí para compartir lo que fue mi experiencia. I'm just here to share what my experience was. Estoy aquí hablando y compartiendo acerca de los comités de liderazgo que se han proveído a través del esfuerzo y a través de la participación de NVUSD y la confianza que se nos ha dado como padres. I'm here to share thanks to the support and having people in the position in NVUSD of being able to lead us and to help us and listen to our needs. En el 2018-2019, como mencionó a nuestra presidenta Cindy, tuvo un impacto muy fuerte todos los talleres de liderazgo que se llevaron a cabo a través del distrito, liderados por Viviana Loera, que es la persona encargada de todos los enlaces de padre y que tienen esa conexión con nuestras familias dentro de las escuelas. In 2018-19, we were very grateful and excited to have our NVUSD parent conferences that took place, leadership conferences that took place thanks to the great leadership that is put in place by Viviana Loera, who is the head of our parent liaisons, which are the sole interaction with our families throughout the entire district. En el 2020, como comentaron, tuvimos nuestro primer comité de DLAC y tuve el honor de ser la presidenta. As mentioned before, in 2020, I was elected the first DLAC president as we structured for the first time and followed a new adventure and a new pathway to the way we would do DLAC. También por primera vez tuvimos un comité de liderazgo más pequeño. Se hizo una convocatoria a todo el distrito, abierto a cualquier padre de familia que quisiera ser involucrado y participé en ese programa piloto. We had the first leadership cohort in a smaller setting where it was open to all the families within NVUSD and to any parent or guardian that wanted to be involved, and I was part of that pilot program. En el 2023, now in 2023, we have successfully completed a 21-hour training that happened every Saturday with many of NVUS parents that were committed to come and learn, grow, nurture themselves to eventually help spread the word and the knowledge that we had been provided and also implemented within our ELACs. En el 2000, I just said it in English, right? Sorry. En el 2023 tuvimos un taller que se llevó a cabo por 21 horas y eran todos los sábados y veníamos un grupo de padres ya involucrados, pero que queríamos aprender, teníamos ganas de estructurar cómo mejor apoyar nuestro entendimiento de DLAC y llevar a cabo y compartirlo en la comunidad a nuestros ELACs, que son los comités de nuestras escuelas. I really want to thank the group that's here, which is Monica and Matt Manning, the fact that they have lend us their time, their ears, their support, and really have given us a platform to really speak from experiences
And I know I'm not the only parent. There are plenty. And I hope that this meeting also is an open invitation to any other parent within NVUSD. You don't need to be a Spanish speaker. You just have to have a child that's an English learner or a multilingual student. And if you were once a multilingual student, I still invite you to come and join, because you know what it is to be a multilingual student. You know your needs, and you get to see if things have evolved and grown and have been updated. And if you still see that it hasn't, that this is the time to be the person you needed when you were growing up. Quiero agradecer más que nada al comité presente, lo que es Matt Manning, Mónica Redding, que nos ha dado no nada más sus oídos y su tiempo, sino la plataforma de escucharnos, trabajar a la mano con nosotros. Y quiero que esta sea una invitación abierta a todos los padres del distrito escolar en NVUSD a que se involucren, porque como yo hay más padres allá afuera que quieren ser parte del cambio y que a lo mejor fueron aprendices de inglés, y que si se pueden venir a involucrar nuevamente como aprendices de inglés de hace tiempo y ver que todavía no hay los cambios necesarios o las actualizaciones necesarias que se ocupan hoy en día para los estudiantes, los invitamos a que sean parte de esto, porque es importante tener todas nuestras voces para que puedan seguir alentando el cambio. I'm going to go ahead and invite Antonia Covarrubias from Donaldson Way in American Canyon High School. She was another leadership parent that joined our 2023 cohort. Voy a invitar ahora a Antonia Covarrubias, que es otra de las personas que completó el curso de los sábados de 21 horas por parte del grupo de liderazgo. Gracias.
Hola, buenas noches. Yo soy Antonia Covarrubias, representando a Donaldson Way y American Canyon High School, y padre que participó en el programa de liderazgo.
Hello, I am a parent that also participated in the program. Perdón, ¿cómo fue que dijo que era su nombre?
Antonia Covarrubias.
And my name is Antonia
Covarrubias.
Antonia Covarrubias. Adelante.
Gracias por darme la oportunidad de presentar hoy sobre la importancia de aprender del aprendizaje de padres.
And I want to thank you for allowing me to learn in this program about the leadership as a parent.
A través del grupo de liderazgo, aprendí la importancia del aprendizaje.
And there I learned the importance of learning.
Para padres y la importancia de poner en práctica lo que uno aprende.
Learning the importance of learning as a parent and to be able to share it.
Cuando uno comparte la información necesaria,
when we learned the necessary information
para el rendimiento académico de nuestros hijos,
for the academic learning for our children,
ellos mejoran,
they become better.
Con el mayor conocimiento,
with more understanding,
como el que ofrece el programa de liderazgo para padres.
With the program to learn about being a leader as a parent.
Los resultados serían aún mayores que si no supiéramos por dónde empezar.
And the accomplishments are so great, and I don't even know where to start.
Si aprendemos,
and if we learned,
nos informamos,
we would conform.
Si compartimos,
and if we share,
creamos comunidad.
Perdón, ¿puedes repetir?
Creamos comunidad.
We would be a community.
Y si practicamos, creamos hijos exitosos.
And if we practice this, then we will raise successful children.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Los dejo con el compañero Yuri Silva.
Now I give the mic over to Mr. Silva.
Muy buenas noches. Muy agradecido de
Good
estar acá
evening. I am very grateful to be here with you.
y bastante nervioso también.
Perdón, ¿puedes repetir?
Y bastante nervioso también. Le dije.
Oh, I am also very nervous up here.
La importancia del seguimiento de los programas.
So here I will be speaking about the parent programs.
Ante el éxito del programa de liderazgo, se evidencia la necesidad de darle continuidad a este tipo de actividades organizadas por el distrito escolar.
So here we were learning about the school district.
Esto debido a que el sector conformado por las familias de estudiantes de aprendices de inglés
And here we were learning as parents of students who are learning English.
está en la disposición de ser receptores de información que les permita cambiar efectivamente
And here I was in a position of learning effectively
el nivel de conocimientos y habilidades para enfrentar los retos que las circunstancias le presentan cotidianamente.
the opportunity to learn about the daily living with our students.
Estos se manifiestan en las actividades de su vida diaria y van desde laborales, familiares y las que se refieren al apoyo de la educación de sus hijos.
And here we were learning how to support the education of our children.
Para esto último, se tiene la necesidad de participar activamente en los distintos tipos de organizaciones como lo son ILAC y DILAC.
And here we as parents were able to learn and stay active in these programs, DLAC and ELAC.
Las cuales le permiten al padre de familia
Which allow the parents
ser un ente activo en la dirección que debe tomar la educación de sus hijos.
to be an active partner in the education of our children.
Aportando para esto último ideas de actividades que son sugeridas a las autoridades correspondientes para ser tomada en cuenta por estas.
Moreover, we were able to participate in activities that broaden our experiences.
Esto hace necesario empoderar al padre de familia o encargado de los estudiantes con las herramientas básicas como lo podría ser una formación inicial de liderazgo.
And this would allow us to have and learn about the required tools to become the leader we needed to be.
Y esto le permite crecer activamente.
And this allowed me to grow actively.
Decimos que es importante este tipo de programas, ya que esto
And the most
permite
important thing about these programs,
ya que esto permitirá identificar fácilmente
this would allow us to easily identify
a personas que evidentemente son líderes,
people that obviously are free,
entendiendo que el líder es aquel que identifica acciona y contribuye a la solución de problemas.
From people that are capable of bringing answers to the problems.
Juntamente con un grupo de trabajo que se reúna para este fin.
And we would get together to bring solutions to the problems.
El líder es capaz de convertir debilidades en fortalezas.
Perdón, ¿puedes repetir?
El líder es capaz de convertir debilidades en fortalezas.
And the leader was able to learn about his own capabilities.
Y amenazas en oportunidades.
And the threats in the community.
Esto permite, en definitiva, proporcionar a la educación de sus hijos un panorama más alentador.
And this allowed us to be more active in the education of our children and be active.
Y al mismo tiempo facilitará la conducción de las autoridades educativas.
And this allowed us to learn about the corruption.
Pues con una comunidad preparada y capacitada,
Hidden in the capacity of certain people.
es más fácil la dirección y conducción del hecho educativo, redundando en el bienestar de nuestros estudiantes.
Perdón, ¿puedes repetir?
Okay. Con una comunidad preparada y capacitada, es más fácil la dirección y conducción del hecho educativo, redundando en el bienestar de nuestros estudiantes.
And as an active community member, we were able to participate in the benefit of education for our community and our students.
Es por lo anterior que se hace muy importante darle continuidad a este tipo de programas de capacitación y preparación.
And it is very important for me to have this program continue for the training and learning to become a leader.
Especialmente a los miembros activos de ILAC y DILAC.
Especially to the leaders of ELAC and DLAC.
Y así propiciar
¿Y así qué, perdón?
y así propiciar
Promote.
And in this matter, to continue,
una correcta apropiación del rol que juega cada uno de ellos.
to continue learning about the role of each parent leader.
Les agradezco mucho su atención y creo que es importante pasar del dicho al hecho. Buenas noches.
And I appreciate your attention in this matter. Good night.
My apologies. I would like to just provide some clarity as some of the interpretation was not accurate. And I'll be brief. I apologize. Is that okay? Is that okay? Or up a little more? Okay. How's that? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The importance of program follow through. Given the success of the leadership program, the need to give continuity to this type of activity should be continued to be organized by the school district and is evident. This is because this sector made up of families of English learners is willing to be recipients of information that allows them to effectively change the level of knowledge and skills to face the challenges and circumstances that are presented to them on a daily basis. These challenges are manifested both in activities and in their daily life and range from work, family, and those that refer to supporting their children's education. For the latter, they need to actively participate in different programs and organizations such as ELAC and DLAC, which allow parents to be an active entity in the direction that an active entity in the direction that the education of their children should partake. Contributing to the latter ideas of activities that are suggested to corresponding authorities to be taken account by them. This shows that it is necessary to empower parents or guardians of students with the basic tools such as initial leadership training, and this allows you to grow actively. We say that this type of program is important since this will allow to easily identify people who are obvious leaders, understanding that a leader is one who identifies and activates along with contributes to the solution of the problem together with a work group that meets for this purpose. The leader must be capable of converting weaknesses into strengths and threats into opportunities. And this allows ultimately to provide a more encouraging panorama for the education of their children. My apologies. And at the same time, it will facilitate the conduct of educational authorities because with a prepared and trained community, it is easier to direct and conduct educational events, resulting in the well-being of our students. For this reason, it is very important to give continuity to programs such as this and training such as this. These programs provide preparation, especially to active members of committees such as ELAC and DLAC, and thus promoting an appreciation of the role that each of them plays in their child's education. Thank you.
Hola nuevamente. Gracias, Elba. Gracias, Yuri. Gracias, Antonia.
Hello once again, everyone. Thanks, Elba, Judy, Antonia.
Vamos a continuar. Por favor, si me ponen el slide de la línea del tiempo, por favor.
Let's continue, please. If you could show the timeline, please.
Excelente, gracias.
Excellent, thank you.
Nos quedamos en el año 2020.
So we left off the year 2020.
Donde celebramos nuestro primer elección y votación de nuestro comité.
Where we celebrated our first celebration of our first committee, DELA committee.
Pero esto no quedó allí nomás.
But this didn't just stay there.
Tenía que continuar.
This had to continue.
Y había algunas inquietudes en los que estamos alrededor de DELA.
And there were some issues around those who were around DLAC.
Y empezamos a tocar puertas.
And then we began knocking doors.
Déjenme mencionarles antes.
First, let me mention
el distrito
that the district,
con nuestra líder,
with our leader,
Vera Massetti,
Vera Massetti,
no se quedó así nomás.
didn't just stay that way.
Teníamos COVID encima.
We had COVID with us.
Y la educación no paró.
However, education did not cease.
Los planes de trabajo no pararon.
And work plans did not cease.
Y tuvimos
And we had
una serie de liderazgo
a series of leadership
para padres
for parents
con proporcionado
that would provide
por Arisbeth Corro.
Help.
Lisbeth Corro.
Oh, Lisbeth Corro, sorry.
Lisbeth Corro. Me impresionó.
And I was impressed by
que aún estando en ese encierro,
that even while being in that enclosed space,
o medio encierro,
or halfway enclosed,
el interés de NVUSD,
the interest for NVUSD, or from the NVUSD,
por instruirnos a nosotros los padres,
to educate us, the parents,
no paró.
did not stop.
El COVID no lo paró.
COVID did not stop it.
Y fue tan impresionante
And it was so impressive,
esos 4 módulos
those 4 modules,
que nos hicieron llegar
that they were able to bring us
vía correo
through a mail,
nuestros diplomas
our diplomas
de cada módulo.
from every module.
Puedo decir
And I can tell you
con propiedad
with property
que tenemos muy buenos líderes.
and that we have very good leaders,
Empezando con nuestra superintendente, doctora Mosseri,
starting with our superintendent, Dr. Musetti,
y nuestros directores,
and our directors,
Mónica Reddy,
Monica Reddy
Matt Manning,
and Matt Manning.
porque entonces empezó
Because
tocar.
Sorry.
a tocar puertas.
Because that's when we started knocking doors.
Y esas puertas
And those doors
siempre se abrieron.
always opened for us.
Y siempre fue
And they were always.
una disposición abierta
It was they were always had their arms open for us
para escuchar
to listen to us
necesidades
very carefully,
como ILAC y DELAC.
such as organizations such as DLAC and ELAC.
Esto
So this
nos ha llevado
this has led us to
a formar un comité de trabajo,
form a work committee,
porque en el 2022 y el 2023
because in 2022 and 2023,
se celebra nuevamente
again, we are celebrating
elección y votación
elections and voting
del nuevo comité DELAC,
of a new DLAC committee,
en donde ahora estamos como equipo de trabajo
where we are now working as a work team,
dando
working,
nuestras reuniones de DELAC.
giving our DLAC sessions.
Y hay un propósito y hay unas metas
And there is a purpose and we have goals
que necesitamos alcanzar.
that we need to accomplish.
Y hoy por hoy
And today,
hemos aprendido
we have learned
que tocando puertas
that knocking doors,
se abren oportunidades.
doors will open for you.
Y en este momento vamos a pasar a ese 22-23 con el comité de DELAC,
So at this time, we want to move on to the 2022 to 2023, the DLAC committee.
presentando nuestro plan de trabajo.
And we want to present to you our work plan
Con la ayuda de nuestro vicepresidente, el
With-
señor Roberto.
with the help of our Vice President, Mr. Roberto.
Gracias. Buenas noches nuevamente.
Thank you and good evening once again.
¿Podemos pasar a la slide de las metas, por favor?
Can we please go on to the goal slides, please?
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for that.
En este comité,
So in this committee here,
sabemos la importancia de trabajar en equipo.
we know of the importance to work as a team,
Lo cual lo estamos haciendo gracias a la colaboración de nuestros directores, Matt Manning.
Thank
David.
goodness. We're doing this thanks to our collaboration of our team with Matt Manning and ¿quién más?
Mónica.
Monica Reddy.
Mónica.
Thank you.
La colaboración, corro,
And the the association.
Arisbet. Viviana Loera también es muy importante en nuestro trabajo.
Also, Viviana Loera, she's very important to our work.
Y eso nos ha llevado a plantearnos unas metas.
And this has led us to try to achieve several goals.
Una de nuestras metas principales
One of our main goals
es el integrar a nuevos padres a estos comités.
is to integrate new parents to these committees.
Estamos buscando la forma de integrarlos activamente.
We are looking for a way to actively have them join.
Primero que nada con el ejemplo.
First of all, by example.
Estamos trabajando arduamente.
We are working very hard.
Sé que mis compañeras llevan mucho más tiempo que yo.
I know that my colleagues have a lot more time working than I.
Y su trabajo ha sido muy importante y benéfico.
And their job, their work has been very important and very beneficial.
Algunos de ustedes conocen mi trayectoria o nuestras trayectorias.
Some of you know my background, right? Or our backgrounds, actually.
Y nos han visto crecer como líderes.
And you have seen us grow as leaders.
Asimismo, queremos ver crecer a más líderes y representar.
Likewise, we want to see more leaders develop and more representatives develop.
Y dejar precedente
and leave a precedent
para los futuros representantes de estos comités.
For future representatives of these committees.
Sabemos que los estudiantes es algo muy importante.
We know that students are very important.
Pero sin la participación de los padres,
however, without the parents' participation,
no lograrían tener el éxito debido.
They would not achieve the proper success.
Les puedo decir que estamos trabajando arduamente.
I can tell you that we're working very hard.
Y que pronto tendremos los primeros resultados.
And that soon we will have our first results.
Una de nuestras siguientes metas y muy importante.
One of our next goals and one that's very important
es la formación de unos comités.
Is the development of some committees.
El cual mi compañera Cindy nos hará favor de ampliarnos la información.
Which my colleague here, Cindy, will give us more information on this.
Muchas gracias, Roberto.
Thank you so much, Roberto. Are you going to be translating also or interpreting? Or do you need me to interpret? Miss Cindy.
Please keep translating.
Okay, we'll keep translating. Okay, thank you. Vamos a continuar.
Gracias y disculpa.
Thank you.
Uno de los planes de trabajo que tenemos a corto, mediano y a largo plazo.
Okay. Frases cortas, por favor. Short phrases, please. One of the jobs that we have, right, at short-term goals. Adelante.
Uno de los planes que tenemos a corto plazo.
One of the plans, short-term plans that we have.
Mediano plazo.
Medium goals also.
Y largo plazo.
And also long.
Es la formación
goals. Is the development or the formation of these committees.
Por niveles.
Through levels.
Educativos.
Education levels.
Comité de escuelas primarias.
Elementary schools, committees.
Comité de escuelas intermedias.
And also secondary school committees.
Y comité de las escuelas secundarias.
And also high school committees.
Estas serán formadas.
And these were formed.
Por los ILAC.
Through ELAC.
De cada escuela.
From each school.
La cual van a tener la oportunidad.
Which they will have the opportunity.
De reunirnos.
And we'll have that opportunity to meet
con nuestros directores
with our principals
y poder hablar
and be able to talk
de las necesidades,
of the needs,
prioridades,
the priorities,
circunstancias
circumstances,
y esas prácticas prometedoras
and these promising tactics
de cada una de nuestras escuelas.
of each one of our schools.
La información
The information
va a ser más corrida
is going to be faster,
y va a llegar a los oídos
and it's going to get to the ears
que necesitan escuchar.
of those that need to hear this
Nuestros directores.
and hear our directors, principals.
Y no solamente eso,
And not just that,
sino que como representantes de ILAC
but as ELAC representatives,
vamos a tener la oportunidad
we will have a chance
de aprender uno de otro
of learning from each other
y llevar esas buenas prácticas
and to take these good practices
de aquella escuela vecina
from that neighboring school
a mi escuela.
to my school.
Entonces vamos a hacer
So then we will be
un mejor NVUSD,
a better NVUSD
porque todos vamos a estar
because we are all going to be
desarrollando
developing
esas prácticas prometedoras.
these promising practices.
Entonces,
Therefore,
¿cuáles esas metas a largo plazo?
what are these long-term goals?
Que las universidades
That the universities
estén con ansiedad,
are anxiously
esperando a los estudiantes
waiting for the students,
graduados
graduates
de NVUSD.
from NVUSD.
Es para nosotros
It is
un
for
gran
us a great honor
y un gran privilegio
and a great privilege
ser parte
to be part of
de este caminar del distrito.
walking with this district
Como DELAC.
as DLAC.
DELAC ha llegado a un punto
DLAC has reached a point
en que siempre queremos más.
where we always want to achieve more.
Y estamos en nuestra meta
And we are in our goal.
de alcanzar más padres.
We have a goal to reach out to more parents.
El padre que viene por primera vez a NVUSD
The parent that comes for the first time to NVUSD,
el padre del estudiante del aprendiz de inglés como segunda lengua
the parent of the English student as a second language,
y del padre de los estudiantes en su totalidad.
and the parent of the students in their full capacity.
Lo más de ¿cuántos son?
16,300.
How many are there? 16,300.
Porque hemos aprendido
Why? Because we have learned
que padres involucrados,
that involved parents,
hijos exitosos.
we have successful children.
Y el distrito que se involucran los padres,
And the district that where parents are involved in,
ese distrito crece,
that district prospers,
avanza,
advances,
madura
it matures,
y abre puertas de
Oh.
oportunidad.
and there are more opportunities in it.
Muchas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Y agradecería sus comentarios y sus preguntas, por favor.
I would welcome your comments and your questions, please.
Okay, before we take comments from the board, Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
Antes de
yes,
aceptar preguntas o comentarios, ¿hay alguna pregunta que se quiere hacer o un comentario que se quiera hacer?
Yes, let me turn on interpretation again. Yes, we do. First speaker is Karina Cervantes. Go ahead, please.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. My name is Karina Cervanti. And want to thank the panel, the parents. Thank you for the presentation, wonderful presentation. But want to especially thank Ms. Viviana Loera for her amazing leadership. This didn't start all of what the panel presented would not had happened without her leadership. I'm a parent of NVUSD ACMS student, and also I work for the district for about 8-9 years, and the leadership that Ms. Loera has brought to the table has been so valuable, and none of this would not happen without her the force that and the love that she put into it. And I'm just so proud that she had the vision. She you know, like Ms. Ramirez says about involved parents, padres and vueltos. It's based on Jaime Caria's workshops, and yeah, I remember when Ms. Loera brought him to do a workshop for the parents. She had that vision, and it shows, and it has brought so much involvement to our district and to the parents, and has opened up a whole door for having the Hispanic parents have a voice. So I want to make sure that Ms. Loera gets a lot of allocates on what ELAC and DILAC have become. So thank you so much, and great presentation, and keep up the good work.
Thank you. Mr. Michaels, do we have any more public comment online?
There is no more online public comment.
Okay, thank you. We do have one public comment in the boardroom from Ms. Norma Ortiz.
Hello, my name is Norma Ortiz, and I have been involved in this district at least since 2012. I want to have the time to thank all parents, students, and community members who have contributed to DLAC and ELACs even before and after 2015. Dr. Patrick Sweeney, Dr. Massetti, and other superintendents too. I would like to clarify under my perspective that back in 2017 and 2018, the participation was not minimal, because I was there and observed from experience and have been participating for more than 5 years, both in experience as a representative. All the meeting agendas and minutes were always posted with sufficient time, even so the public could review at their leisure time. Now I have reached out at least twice to leadership because I've had experienced difficulties finding them on our website, specifically the recordings to follow up with them in terms of my input during such meetings, and so my comments could be included in the minutes. I continue to be so grateful to Ms. Sarah Williams, Napa Valley Unified School District ELA Director at that time, prior administration. A person who I learned a lot from, and thanks to her, I learned to have a voice in DLAC and board meetings and contribute directly to the master plan, which has impacted in positive ways in favor of all students all across our district. She invited parents every year to present to the board as a parent-led committee. She responded to all of our questions thoroughly because of her ample experience in these topics, ELA. Because of that, I truly respect Ms. Williams and wish her the best of luck in her new role. It was fun at that time. We were able to also play games and share if we had questions and further comments and follow up with certain items. It was not just a map, but it was all informative, educational in nature, but again, very helpful to my daughter and self. We were able to listen at that time, but also contribute in every way. I am now going to meet at the state level thanks to that type of support she provided. Just to mention, several of our parents don't know how to read or write across our district, then and now. I would always bring my child normal. Sufficient time was provided, again at that time, to get information, contribute, ask clarifying questions, all within the DLAC structure. There is an actual decline in our DLAC meetings today because not all representatives show up. And I would like that NVUSD leadership staff please continue to find strategies to bring change in this aspect because all of our contributions matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Now I'll take board questions or comments. Trustee Chu.
So 2 years ago, our community liaison, Karina Cerventi, introduced me to two wonderful parents from ACMS, fellow parents from ACMS at the time, because I was an ACMS parent at the time as well. And they happened to be Cindy and Roberto. And it has been a pleasure just sitting in a couple of your ELAC meetings and just seeing the evolution of your leadership, and to see you present at this moment is just amazing to me, and how much growth that you've kind of brought to the ACMS community, ACHS community as well, because they have a joint ELAC. But now that you're bringing it to the district level. And to Ms. Marquez, I met you also about a year ago, and now you are one of the leaders of Girls on the Run. And I know I kind of gave you a shout out earlier when we approved that contract, but it's just amazing that you guys have found your voice through this leadership process. So thank you very much for all of the work that you have done. I know it's a lot of work. And very grateful for the presentation today, and looking forward to how you guys actually evolve DLAC to become. So thank you.
Trustee Rice.
Just very quickly, I want to thank all of the parent presenters for a really informative and wonderful presentation. And thank you for your commitment to the district, because it makes me feel very proud that we've come so far. And I think it's very smart of us as a district to be utilizing the resource of our wonderful parents. And so I just thank you for your continued commitment to helping our district serve our multilingual learner students and families better, because that is always on our minds. And we're grateful for your partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. Trustee Water.
Right. An earlier speaker, the gentleman there, said that he was nervous about speaking in public. Don't be. You're a wonderful speaker. All of you are. And I particularly like what you said about helping the district prosper, advance, and mature, because we do need our parents to help us. The teachers do a wonderful job, but they can't do it by themselves. And I believe I said somewhere that parents are the first teachers of their students, and if we can, of the children, and if we can, enlist parents, and you can do it. You can help them feel confident.
And, together we can move the district forward. I really want to thank you. And anything we can do to help, let us know.
Trustee Gonzalez Myers.
I'm going to say it both in English and Spanish. En primera quiero darle las gracias por su presentación esta noche. Fue una explicación de la historia desde donde vino la estructura del programa y la parte del distrito dentro de eso. So I just wanted to thank them for their presentation and going over the history and structure of DLAC and the involvement of the district in that work. Para mí es un orgullo ver a los padres de nuestra comunidad involucrados, pero más que nada ese apoyo de poder ayudar a cómo funciona este sistema tan complicado que es la educación. I also want to thank the parents for their involvement, but more so for taking on the step of learning the very complicated world of our education system. Sabemos que nuestros hijos en el distrito hay muchos retos y no se pueden lograr sin un equipo, una colaboración. We know that our children are faced with lots of challenges, but we can't accomplish that without partnership and collaboration. Eso fue lo que escuché hoy en su presentación, que fue acerca de equipo, de colaboración, de intercambio, de herramientas, de conocimiento, del cómo hacerlo. What I heard tonight was the exchange and the partnership of information, of the sharing of tools, of communication. Y eso lo que logra es la habilidad de poder alcanzar lo que tenemos que alcanzar porque no lo podemos hacer solos. And what that does is that we can't accomplish what we want to accomplish without having all of us involved. Entonces agradezco mucho por su tiempo, su esfuerzo. Yo sé que eso no hay un precio, pero el regalo que nos da es enorme a todos. I know that your involvement is, I am thankful for their commitment and their extra time that they're putting to do this work. There's no price to that, but it's completely priceless at the end of the day because we all gain from that. Las metas que pusieron aquí enfrente, creo que es algo que nosotros como distrito fue lo que escuché que hemos estado haciendo y que hay que continuarlo. Y mi meta para mí, y yo sé que no puedo hablar por los demás, es cómo seguir ese apoyo. I know that at the end of the day, it's about the district providing you with the support and the resources to accomplish what you need to accomplish. I can only speak for myself, of course, but I know that there's a great interest in doing that. Pues estoy muy orgullosa porque ya los veo a ustedes y veo a mis propios padres también. Y qué bonito que hemos llegado a un punto de estructura, una forma de formalizar el trabajo. And I'm just grateful because I see my parents in all of you and how great that we have a structure in place and to keep the work going. Lots of thank you to the NVUSD team, because I know this was a long time going from my first attendance to the conference that Viviana put together. That was I remember that being a beautiful day of parents coming. Me estaba acordando de cuando fue la primera conferencia que Viviana organizó y que me invitó, y fue un grupo hermoso de padres de ver ahí. Entonces que eso continúe y que no pare. So may everything continue and not stop. So congratulations, muchas felicidades.
I don't know, Mr. Pearson can't control the volume on his personal device. I don't know what's going on there. Trustee Hart.
Well, I think it's been said pretty well by my fellow trustees, but I would like to express my appreciation for all of your hard work. It's very clear that you're all dedicated to your students and to the district and to making things better for everybody. And again, to the district representatives, thank you for your partnership over the years. I appreciate being new on the board, learning some history of this organization. And it's exciting to see what can be accomplished going forward with all of us working together. So thank you very much.
So I appreciated the history lesson as well. The tale of growth from 2015 to the present was impressive. It sounds like there has been a tremendous amount of leveling up and improvement in the DLAC and ELAC organizations throughout the district, which is really great to hear. I also appreciated hearing how the participants, the parents, and the families really also got an opportunity to level up along with the organization and have been able to step up into a strong leadership role in the organization. I think that's a huge step forward from where we were in the past. And so I love to hear the progress. I look forward to next year's presentation when we hear more about how the committees worked out that you guys are establishing this year. So thank you for coming tonight. And I believe Assistant Superintendent Page has a couple more comments.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to say a few words, and I'll say them in English and Spanish. I'd like to say congratulations to you and the rest of the DLAC participants for reaching this point in your journey. Me gustaría decir felicitaciones a usted y al resto de los participantes de DLAC por llegar a este punto en su travesía. La cohorte de liderazgo de padres ha hecho un gran trabajo desarrollando las habilidades y la confianza para aumentar su influencia y ser fuertes defensores de los niños. The parent leadership cohort has done a great job developing the skills and confidence to increase your influence and be strong advocates for children. Aprecio sus metas, parecen los próximos pasos correctos para continuar elevando la voz del Comité DLAC en nuestro distrito. I appreciate your goals. They seem like the right next steps to continue elevating the DLAC committee voice in our district. Gracias otra vez por su trabajo duro y dedicación a la educación. Thank you again for your hard work and dedication to education. And thank you to our team, Arisbeth Coro, Viviana Luera, and Directors Reddy and Manning for your support and hard work too. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys for coming. And before we continue with our agenda, it is now time for a 5-minute break. Okay, and we are back. We're now on to item J1, business services. J1A, demographic data presentation. I'm not sure if the mic is on. It doesn't seem to be working.
Oh, there you go. One more time at the beginning. Is that better? Yes. Perfect. I'll come back from here. So I just want to take a quick, I'll repeat my horrible joke. So I'll just say, I want to take a quick moment to introduce Rob Murray, who's also known as Jeopardy Rob. He provides us with the data for our demographic study for our enrollment, which we know generates a lot of really important data pieces for the district. We use this in terms of staffing. We get to use the data in terms of funding under the local control funding formula, and also for our facilities needs and other grants we apply for. With that, I will pass it over to Rob.
Hi, thank you, Rob, and good evening, Board President Gracia, members of the board, Assistant Superintendent Dana Page. I'm sorry to miss Dr. Musetti tonight for the one time in 5 years that she isn't here, of course, but the rest of the staff. But I know some of you have seen me present before. Some of you are just finding out who I am tonight. So again, my name is Rob Murray. I am the Director of Demographics with King Consulting. And between me and our president, Jamie King Eisman, one of us or the other has been doing this demographic analysis dating back as far as 2005. But it's thrilling to have the opportunity to be here in front of you again and to give a presentation. And do I just need to ask someone to advance the slides? Okay, so with that, I'm very conscious that we have a long road ahead of you even after my part's done. So I'm just going to give you a very high level view of this year's demographic analysis. Again, there is a very hefty report that you can get all kinds of other information from, but I'm not going to even touch on tonight. But if you have read it and have questions on something I don't talk about, please feel free to ask. But we're going to really talk about a little bit of enrollment history and demographics, student generation rates in residential development, just a very little bit on the spatial analysis, and then really focusing on our enrollment projections. So we can go to the next slide, please. And so just a quick overview as we see the map here of your entire district footprint. Enrollment is continuing to decrease district-wide, and the real culprit here is births are down. There are just fewer school-age children living in your district than there were a decade ago. NVUSD actually had been growing through the Great Recession and into those years following when a lot of districts weren't. But the statewide demographic trends that we've been seeing certainly caught up to this district, and you've been seeing the decreasing enrollment. American Canyon, you are a district of two distinct communities with very different demographics, but American Canyon enrollment is more stable, but births are, after having held steady for longer, decreasing there too. And actually, without the increasing enrollment of students coming in from outside of NVUSD, you actually would have seen enrollment in American Canyon going down recently. It's just been not as apparent in the totals, just because the enrollment that you've had has still come in to occupy some of the seats at those sites there. And then, of course, residential development is a big factor, particularly in American Canyon, where you do have a lot finally really getting underway after years of being in the works. But all of that said, the net result is decreasing enrollment, unfortunately, expected to continue for the foreseeable future. And we'll get into just some of the data that backs that up so that you can trust me and I'm not just making this up without something to back it up. So let's go ahead and go to our next slide. And then that just what you saw, a little placeholder for the district demographic. So this is district-wide enrollment. So you just see the total there again, increasing up through 2014-15, and it had been increasing for years before that, just showing about the last decade here, and then beginning to decrease. What looks like a couple of years of enrollment bumping up is just kind of a reporting technicality where the former charter schools that were in VOA and River are now just district schools and reported with district enrollments. So that's not really students who are new, it's just students who began being counted as NVUSD enrollment as of those years. And then you see since the last 2021, when NVLA came in, enrollment continuing to go down. So next slide, please. And when we break that down by grade, this is where I like to show this one on the top, just to make that point that what really the engine that drives changing enrollments is that cohort replacement. You have a group of kids that come in at kindergarten. At the elementary level, they are taking the place of a group of fifth graders that's moving up to middle school. District-wide, they're taking the place of a group of high school seniors who are graduating out of the district. And when you have a very big difference in the size of those incoming and outgoing cohorts, whatever other factors are involved, that's really where you're going to see change in enrollment. And so you see the elementary enrollment in that darker color on the bottom, TK through fifth grade, really began going down after the 2014-15 school year. You actually saw middle school enrollments holding steady for a few years thereafter. High school enrollments didn't even peak until 2020-21 because all those cohorts from when you were growing were still moving up the grades. So you had bigger and bigger cohorts still moving into high school. That's just now starting to turn. All those smaller cohorts that have been coming in, have been driving down elementary enrollment, are now reaching middle school and now getting into high school, and you're seeing the enrollments begin to go down there too. So it's just important to understand that concept that when it's going in these kind of wave patterns, you can actually have, as you did for a while, increasing high school enrollment at the same time your elementary is decreasing. But the trends have been until the cohorts start getting bigger again, you're just on that downward slope where again, there are things that can help offset it. But at this point, you keep having what's leaving out one end is more than what's coming in the other, and very hard to do anything but go down in that scenario. You see the example there on the bottom, that is darker color as your kindergarten cohorts. Well, you do tend to pick up a few students in first grade every year, just since kindergarten has not been mandatory, but you still, apples to apples across the board, you still see, you used to get about 1,200 students coming in every year for those new populations. You're now around or below 1,000 students, and that's just the difference. It's offset some. TK in the lighter color at the top, you do get, the state has mandated that program is rolling out effectively a new grade level, which doesn't happen really ever until that happened. But these aren't brand new kids. These are kids that you likely would have been getting the next year as kindergartners. You're just getting more of them at one time by also enrolling them the year before as TK. And so that does mean, again, it bumps the total enrollment, but it doesn't really change that mathematics of the size of that cohort of children who are moving through. So next slide, please. Okay, so just a quick look at community demographics, because if you just look at the census, the 2020 data has been out for a little bit. We're about to get a whole bunch of more detailed age data. So when I'm here for your next report, you'll have a much better, finer breakdown of this. But what this shows is if you just look at the total population of the communities in your district, all those populations are increasing. That's great. But then you look at the percent of that population that's under age 18, and you see it's about 24% in American Canyon, which is the highest. That's down from about 28% in the previous census. You actually have fewer people recorded under 18 years old in 2020 than you did in 2010, even though the total population was going up. And of course, that's not surprising. We like to show data from different sources that are all pointing to the same situation, which I don't think anyone probably doesn't believe, but it really is just that the kids, it's not that the kids aren't coming to you, the kids just aren't there in the numbers that they used to be. So next slide, please. Okay, and then just a quick look. Now, I mentioned those offsetting factors. So one of the big ones is residential development. If there are more homes, there are families who will move to or stay in the district who otherwise wouldn't have been able to. And it's important to know with construction coming up and projects on the books that haven't been built yet, how many kids are you actually going to get out of those? And the way we determine that is we look at homes that have been built in your district. And again, this is where it's very important to distinguish between American Canyon and the remainder of the district concentrated on Napa and Yountville. But we look at what's been built and we see how many kids you actually have enrolled right now from those. Break that down to a mathematical number, but I like to express it more in terms of if you build 10 or build 100 homes, how many kids do you get? So if we look, I'm actually going to start in Napa at the bottom table, but if you look at those single family detached homes, you have some of those infill projects in Napa that are going on. But at 0.212, you see that was the previous about 217 now in the gold bar, but it's going to be about, if you build 10 homes, you'll get about 2 students enrolled in the district out of those. You see other types of homes, so single family attached is where you're building townhomes or condos, typically close to the same price as those single family detached homes, but without as much space or yard, so less attractive to families who that's what they're focusing on. Multifamily just means like market price rental apartments. And again, you see about 1 kid out of every 10 units that are built in Napa. But it's that affordable housing that really it jumps out. You get almost 1 kid for every unit that's built. You build 10 affordable homes, you get almost 10 kids. You build 50 affordable homes, you get almost 50 kids. That is the kind of housing to focus on when you see that it's coming up. And then in American Canyon, what of course will jump out is that everything is higher across the board, and the single family detached is extremely high, and I've never seen it as high anywhere else. And it comes with a caveat that there hasn't been a lot built in a while. We're finally starting to see some about to come in, and it will be very interesting to see if those very high rates hold up, because again, we're still surveying stuff that was built quite a while ago, and it's still generating a lot of students for American Canyon. And if that same rate holds up, and that's what we are building into your projections as things like Watson Ranch build out, you should definitely have a very healthy infusion of students. We can go ahead and go to the next slide, and I'm not going to linger on the details of this, but you see kind of the tale of two cities again, but American Canyon has more development, which will generate more students from those higher generation rates. But again, things like Watson Ranch, that almost 600 students that we anticipate being generated, that's not a single shot infusion. That is spread out over a long period of however long that takes to build out. It's not all going to be by even 2030. And some of the kids that are generated from this first phase that's coming in, even if they start as kindergartnens, will be out of those elementary schools before all those houses are built. So you're not having all that impact at once. And then in the Napa Yountville area, there are projects. Certainly, I know it was just in March with the first 70 some odd units of Napa pipe that were approved. So there are some things happening in the Napa area. But what we see there are typically lower generation rates and just overall fewer students generated. And all of these students are really, you've seen kind of the big numbers of those differences in the sometimes just hundreds of students difference every year between who was born and who's coming in versus who's matriculating out. So even the addition of this many students from residential development isn't enough to offset that. So next slide, please. Okay, a quick job on the spatial analysis. We can just go to the next slide. I like to show this one just because these charts are in the report. I'm not going to linger on it. I'm just going to explain how it works so that you can play with it. If you ever have a question of where does this school pull kids in from other boundaries, or kids who live in this boundary, where are they going? There's one of these tables for the elementary schools, the middle schools, and the high schools. You look down a column, that's the boundary. And so you can see, just starting with Alta Heights there, 192 kids live in that boundary. 112 of them are at Alta Heights. Those bold numbers on the diagonal, most kids do go to the school whose boundary they live in. But you see that there's a lot of other numbers on that grid. You look across the row again, Alta Heights' enrollment is over 300. And you see what boundaries, if you look across that top row, all of those kids enrolled at Alta Heights are coming in from. So that's just how this works. Again, nothing to linger on. We can just go to the next slide, which is just a quick summary map for the elementary schools. Now, this is a net zero. This is just, so it takes out of the play kids coming in from out of the district, or anyone going to any kind of non-boundary program, which you at the elementary level don't have much, but you can just see between all your schools with boundaries where on net more people are going into than leaving and vice versa. So we just have a lot of that information in the full report that you can, if there's ever any questions, I'm happy to answer them, but just wanted to show a little bit on that. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. And this is getting into, oh yes, I did mention those non-resident students. Just it is important to show a little bit on this. So largely the majority of your non-resident students are coming from Vallejo, also a big amount from Fairfield, and overwhelmingly American Canyon High, American Canyon Middle, Donaldson Way is the top three schools. These are the schools that are also absorbing a lot of those. And as I mentioned in the beginning, if we go to the next slide, you can actually see this is what your enrollment of non-resident students has looked like over the last decade. This is what, especially in American Canyon, has, if you just look at the enrollment totals, maybe not covered up is not the right word because it wasn't intentional, but made it a little bit harder to see that naturally, demographically, enrollment was going down in American Canyon, but was just topped off by increasing numbers of non-resident students. You also see this was the first year in that decade that that total has gone down, which was largely at that high school level. So we can go ahead and now go to the next slide. We'll get into our enrollment projections. And so this is that key stat. Just want to very quickly touch on some details here. Those bars represent the total local births. We record these from the California Department of Public Health. They are tracked on a zip code level, and this is by the residence of the person giving birth. So it doesn't matter in American Canyon, for instance, that there is no hospital, as long as the person who is giving birth lists the American Canyon zip code, it's tracked at the state level. And those report with about a 3-month lag. So all the 2022 births are in the book and have been for a little bit. And what you see is that, again, peaked in 2006 with the total births. You see the darker blue, which is the Napa-Yountville areas, going down fairly steadily. The lighter blue with American Canyon had been in the mid 200s, was holding into the low 200s, but occasionally getting back into the mid 2s. Really been dropping below 200 more often than not recently, and down to just 151 births last year. And all told, district-wide, below 1,000 births for the first time. And these, again, this is what's coming up. Those last, you see that red line, that's your kindergarten enrollment, or kindergarten and TK together that resulted from those births. You see it tracks, not perfectly, but pretty consistently. And you just see what's coming up ahead for the next 5 years, where we know exactly how many births there were. Now, the reason you see the red line is below the bar the last couple of years and then above the bar this year, that's that expanded TK. That's more of those TK kids coming in. But again, those are increasingly going to be 2 different cohorts. They don't then all roll through at once. So we'll start breaking that out separately, probably starting next year. But this has, I think, the single most informative slide probably in terms of why what we're projecting is going to happen. Next slide, please. And then just very quickly, again, once you have those cohorts in, of course, you're not on a remote desert island. People can very easily move into or out of your district. They do every year. But on net, what is going on? So this time, just realize, not being consistent on my part, but the colors, this time light blue is Napa-Yountville. But you see very flat, with plus or minus 0.5% most years, a little more negative recently, but that just means that once those cohorts are in, on net, you're staying about the same size. In American Canyon, you do have that growth. Some, up, 3, 4, sometimes upwards of 5, upwards of 6% this last year. But a lot of that is coming from picking up a lot of new kids at high school. It's not, you do have growth at the elementary grades from year to year, from 3rd to 4th grade. You leave the kids at the end of one year, you come back the next fall, and there's more of them. So that's another reason why American Canyon enrollment has been more resilient. But you've also seen some of the other charts of where some of that is coming from. So next slide, please. And then just very quickly with the enrollment projections, you'll see in the full report, we have several of them. We look at a kind of moderate, low, and high because there's a lot of variation in the inputs that go into these. And traditionally, we usually use the low projection from Napa and the moderate projection from American Canyon, and that gives you what we call your planning projection, and that's what we'll show here tonight. But there's other ones in the full study, including an appendix with each individual school's projection, which again, we will not be diving into here tonight because again, I know there's more agenda ahead. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. And here is that planning enrollment projection. Again, this is just a wall of numbers. So I'm just going to go ahead and advance to the next slide where I've highlighted a couple of things just as a quick illustration. This year, you have just over 1,200 students district-wide in 5th grade. Next year, based on those birth totals and the ratio of those that typically turn into kindergartners, we are anticipating below 900 kindergartners coming in. And you see, even with another bump in TK, you still see the immediate result of that drop in the TK to 5 population. And as I said, you're really just starting to see that in high school. If you look across that row of the 9th grade, that's why we show the historical years as well. You've been getting above 1,500 new students in at 9th grade. It's only in the last couple of years that started the drop. And if you just follow everything in diagonals up and to the left or down to the right, that's tracking that same cohort over time. And you can just see that it's kind of building up in the elementary grades. You used to have cohorts of, well above 1,000. Increasingly, as you get these sub 1,000 kindergarten cohorts in, it just continues. It takes 13 years to move all the way through all of the grade levels. And every time, just to hit that drum one more time, that the more kids are leaving than are coming in, It's just very hard to do anything but go down in total unless there's just an enormous amount of development far above what's actually beginning to occur. And with that, I believe that will conclude the, believe it or not, relatively brief high points of all of this, but very happy to take specific questions at this time. So thank you.
Sure. Before we take questions from the board, Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Okay. Trustee Chu.
So I know the state is trying to push for more affordable housing. And in American Canyon, we don't have those single family attached housing units. They just don't build it. I don't know why. Maybe it's not allowed. I'm not sure. Not in city planning. But I do know that Watson's Ranch has one affordable multifamily unit, right? The building. And another one, Napa Cove, is also, it's kind of like in between the two categories that you have in your table of student generation rates of new construction. So how do you balance the rates for multifamily versus affordable when you have construction or, developments like that? How would you, I mean, they're very different. One is like in American Canyon, it's 0.3 versus 0.9. In Napa, it's 0.09 versus 0.98. So how do you deal with that kind of information?
No, thank you for the detailed question. I like when people are actually reading things. And with that, I know Mr. Manguela had made me kind of aware of the point around it was the Limos Point in Watson Ranch and Napa Cove.
Yeah.
And so part of that is a mea culpa on my part with I was aware of Limos Point and all of those projections for Watson Ranch are accurately showing it with Limos Point units broken out as affordable. I just did not manage to reflect that on my tables, but Napa Cove did confirm that is going to be a 100% affordable development. I am listing it as multifamily, and I ran the numbers this morning. That will be a difference of about 40 students generated. But I had also been building it in, because back when I had been tracking it, it looked like it was going to possibly be occupied as soon as fall of 2023. It looks like spring of 24 now. And so putting them, more students, but out a little bit later, it's about somewhere between call it a 0.2% difference in the projections. So it absolutely is going to be more of a boost than what was shown on my slides. And I will definitely update that for a final version of the report to live on, for eternity on a bookshelf somewhere. But yes, it's a great point, and that's kind of the more of 100% affordable housing that's identified. And in larger projects, we usually there might be an inclusionary, like 10% of units will be affordable. So we literally just break them out as two lines with two different rates and see how many students are generated and when we expect them to be built, and then just add them in on top of the baseline projection that we've already done.
And so when you talk about affordable units versus multifamily, the affordables that can be multifamily as well.
That's correct. Yeah, and a lot of affordable housing tends to be multifamily. You do occasionally have detached homes that are made to be below market rate or affordable, but the most common affordable housing that I see, especially around Bay Area, is multifamily affordable rental housing with just controlled rents at with income verification.
Yeah, I think that's the affordable part is what's really making this decline probably more rapid than.
And back, years and years ago, when we would come here, we used to show a chart that showed home prices on one line over time and student generation rates on another, and they were just perfectly inverse X pattern where as homes got more and more expensive, you literally saw year over year. And this was actually just not looking at new homes, but just resale data. We just would get pay for a list of all the homes that sold by zip code, and then just look up your address list and see how many of them would have, 6 months after they had sold, did you have a kid there or not? and just year over year, price goes up, number of kids goes down. And so you're spot on with that.
And do you anticipate any of these homes being like rental properties for like, I don't know, the vacation markets?
And
I see that as one of those issues with an area like this where it's a destination for a lot of people. So
that's absolutely, I think it's part of, I think once you're looking at something like say Watson Ranch, which is the scope of that one, less likely, but certainly some developments I think are very prone to that. But even for ones that are really appealing to just, oh, this would make such a perfect listing, they're usually built at a price point that's also not attracting a lot of young families to begin with. So for some things, it's less of a concern. But yes, but especially on the secondhand, like, for just things that are in more historic built-in parts of town that are, closer to downtown and Napa, for instance, yes, I do. It certainly does affect things that some of the houses that get on the market never even have a chance of actual resident families moving into them.
and on the other end of the affordable question that I had was Canyon Estates. Those are going to be multi-million-dollar homes. 28 students from there. I think it's going to kind of be overestimating what's going to come from there. That's just my thoughts about that particular one, but it's very few and in between in American Canyon.
Yeah.
Most of ours are not that big and not that expensive.
Yeah, no, and that's a great point. I mean, we could certainly really divvy up because I mean, those homes in particular are probably a bit different from a lot of the other single family that we've surveyed. And so, but then we just run into that issue of trying to find something just like it to survey. And that it'll actually be, it's so much in American Canyon really is, now that we're finally seeing new building again, we finally get updated benchmarks of what to expect as more development happens. So I'm very excited over the next year or two to finally have much fresher student generation rates in American Canyon, where we've really went the better part of a decade with, I mean, we had a few things built, but not as much as I would like to make a good sample size, getting back to data talk. So yeah, we should have a much clearer picture of what to expect from some of these things on a more individualized level soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I would just quickly say that even though it's sort of out of our control and it's kind of a, the writing's on the wall, it's out of our control, knowledge is power. And I thank you for your very clear presentation because you make it very understandable, but even though it's very complicated.
Thank you.
Well, I was, sorry. Actually, 32 years ago, I was on the Napa City Council, and I love things like this because any opportunity to say, I told you so, and make myself even more unpopular, I welcome. This is just, we saw it coming, the Yountville, the Yountville statistics are even worse than when we closed Yountville Elementary, and people who lived there, didn't believe that they had so few children in town. I don't know. I do know that at one of our meetings with the city, they wanted to see some of this information. They said to Dr. Massetti, and well, could we look at that? And sure thing. Because it really is instructive, and it shows the types of housing that families can afford, that keep a city growing. We do need more affordable housing. We need more multifamily housing. That's the key. And I think when people are building, they need to look at things like, how can we build multifamily housing that families will enjoy living in? And that means they've got to be near amenities. They've got to be near a park. They've not got to be near fields, things like that, like Harvest Middle School. Yeah, where all those wonderful playgrounds are. So this is, thank you very much. And it's been a long time coming.
Trustee Gonzalez Marks.
Thank you, President Gracia. The slide or the graph that I was looking at is not in the presentation, but so I'm agreeing with a lot of what was said, and But I do remember coming to a board meeting, I think it was 2005 or 2006. And one of the trustees at the time was pulling up a graph of the birth rate at Queen of the Valley Medical Center, where the number of children of Latinos surpassed the white kids at the time. And so it was like, these are going to be our graduates in 18 years. And that's like now, 2023. And so, but now how we, so in that graph of seeing the number of our ethnicity breakdown,
Yes.
right? And we just had a presentation of our DLAC parents. It's those parents of a large group of kids that have evolved with us, right? So I just wanted to point that out in terms of how much this also has changed the demographic shape of our student population as well. With the time with this, I would sometimes think that the number of our Latino students are I don't know if it's decreasing at a there might be more, but they're also maybe decreasing at a higher rate. I don't know that. Just because the affordability of living here is just unattainable for many of our low incomes, but which goes back to the affordable housing unit. I remember one of your first presentations that I got to see, it used to be 1, I think, if I were like 1.01 or something. Now it's 0.92. Like you can't even, one affordable housing can't even guarantee one student. And so, and we need the whole kiddo. So it's interesting how it's just changed over the years, but the story has been the same of declining enrollment. However, also that story was not really shared with our community in that way until more recently, where we entered a space of a culture of data-driven decisions. And I appreciate that very much from having you. And I do remember a slide also, I think this was back in our, when we were in American Canyon room talking about the middle school, of the accuracy of this data too. I think you looked back at 10 years of history or something like that of just 98% accuracy, 99, 97. I forget the graph. I was trying to go back to my emails to see if I had saved it or put it as my favorite slide or something. But just wanted to share that too, because it's just the accuracy of it is, it may be off a number here and there depending on how it gets categorized, but it's pretty set in stone in a way, and we can't deny the numbers in front of us. So just
well, I thank you. I really do appreciate that, and again, just thank you for reading it. But no, I did not even get into so much of the things on just ethnicity and English language learner trends. But there's so much in the report. But no, I certainly appreciate the kind words, and yes, I'm also thankful not to have to devote part of my presentation to defending the accuracy of the numbers over time. But yes, we work very, very hard to really try to stay within about 1%, from year to year. Obviously, sometimes the long-term trends, certainly before 2020, you occasionally get those curveballs that you really don't anticipate. But from one year to the next, we really try very hard to let you know what to expect. So thank you.
You mean your crystal ball doesn't take care of COVID?
No, if there's somebody I also didn't, if I had known in spring of 2012 to just invest everything I possibly could in Bay Area property, that's, would be living on a beach somewhere. There you go. So it goes.
I had a question about slide 18. This was the one about cohort migration.
Yeah.
And it looked like American Canyon had some positive numbers on that slide.
Yes.
But I was curious if some of that was a result of the migration from outside the district to inside the district for a group of people that are just coming to our schools but don't actually reside.
Yeah. Some of that, because yes, we did show the slide that showed how over the last decade, you just had every year more coming in from outside the district than the year before. And you also saw the slide that showed that most of them are going to schools in American Canyon. So kind of putting all that together, yes, that accounts for not all, but some, definitely some of that positive cohort growth. And I also meant that a big chunk of that, that was just your all of K-11 into 112. When you break it out by grades, you really see a big chunk of that is between 8th and 9th grade. You also get a lot more high schoolers, and that's common for unified districts. You also do have a lot of people who go private or to some kind of independent charter for K-8, come back to their public district for high school. So that is not necessarily all related to increased inter districts, but yes, but that said, there is still independent of all those factors, you would see at least some modest growth in American Canyon that just shows that it's more likely that those families with kids on net are moving in there than in other parts of the district.
Okay. I guess maybe when you come back next year, if you could break out which portion of that is from the inter-district transfers and which is sort of naturally occurring inside the boundary.
I would be happy to do that.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then I just have a couple of quick comments. So we need to just highlight, right, that we're going to go from 16,000 students to 14,000 students. And that's just in a very short 5-year time frame. And the way that we're funded, that means a lot of less revenue. And so there will have to be belt tightening at the end of the day due to the decline in enrollment. We're talking a serious 2,000 student decline. You figure the typical student is about $10,000 or $11,000. You can do the math to see what that means towards the district. It's pretty significant. And then I was struck by something deeper in the report that indicated previously had been one of our very larger schools, topping out at 500, will shortly move within the next 5 years to less than 233 students, which was very surprising since it had been such a large school and now will be one of the smallest in the district. I was shocked to see just how much of a decline there was at McPherson projected. So that was surprising.
Yeah, and and part of the answer to that, if you especially have this report and access to some of the previous ones, that big table of who lives where and is going where, and just you can kind of track. It's not that there. I don't have this answer at the top of my head of what the student population in McPherson looks like relative to others, but certainly I think it is likely to say for some schools that more of the students who are in the boundary may not just be going to that school.
Right. Okay. All right. I think that's it. Thank you for coming.
No, it was my pleasure, and I will hope to be here a little sooner this time. I've promised you something the next time I'm here, so don't want to disappoint. But thank you, everyone. And how do I see?
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. We are now moving on to K, action items. K1, general services. K1A, adoption of California School Board Association recommended policy updates, March 2023.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
All right. Student Board Member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K1B, website migration and redesign.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student Board Member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K2, business services. K2A, resolution number 23-35, resolution delegating authority to superintendent or designees.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Okay, student board member Gomez. Aye. Oh, I'm sorry. This is a resolution, so we do need a roll call. Ms. Morales, can you give us a roll call, please?
Yes, Student Board Member Gomez,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Ricer,
Aye.
Trustee Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Hart,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Morales. 2B, demographic analysis and facility capacity study.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 2C, Van Pelt Construction Services Measure A2.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 2D, agreement between Kev Group and Napa Valley Unified School District.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. 2E, agreement with Ilsley Vineyard Management for Carneros property.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right. K3, Human Resources. K3A, agreement between the Arbinger Institute and the Napa Valley Unified School District.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K4, instructional services, K4A, secondary history, social science, core instruction, material adoption recommendations.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K4B, agreement between Marine Consulting and Napa Valley Unified School District.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 4C, ratification memorandum of understanding between Napa County Office of Education, local education agencies, and Partnership Health Plan of California.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
All right, as this is a was just a minute. Okay, we're good. So student board member Gomez? Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Item D, 10,000 degrees in Napa Valley Unified School District Proposal 23 through 2026.
I move to approve, but I have a question.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Trustee Chu.
So I noticed that most of our schools are included, high schools are included, but NVIS is not included and adult school, at least the high school diploma section. So are they also going to be supported by this contract? Because I would assume that many of those students could benefit from it as well.
So Napa Valley Independent Studies can be served through a satellite campus. And so, and speaking in 10,000 degrees this week, they can work through Valley Oak High School with a shared principalship. They don't currently serve adult schools. And so that wouldn't be something that would be covered in this particular contract.
Thank you.
Okay. Student Board Member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K4E, agreement between Riverside County Superintendent of Schools and Napa Valley Unified School District.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this.
Thank you. Student Board Member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K4F, agreement between Youth Cinema Project and Napa Valley Unified School District.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student Board Member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 4G, supplementary instruction materials adoption for elementary school.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student Board Member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K5, school planning and construction, K5A, SPC number 8.2-23, resolution 23-33 for district standard backpack hooks.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Okay, this is a resolution, so Ms. Morales, can we please have a roll call vote?
Yes, Student Board Member Gomez,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Ricer,
Aye.
Trustee Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Hart,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
K5B, SPC number 2.1-23, resolution 23-34, emergency procurement of construction services for emergency abatement, repair, or replacement at Napa High School.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
All right, Ms. Morales, can I have another roll call vote, please?
Yes, Student Board Member Gomez,
Aye.
Trustee Gracia,
Aye.
Trustee Water,
Aye.
Trustee Ricer,
Aye.
Trustee Shu,
Aye.
Trustee Hart,
Aye.
Trustee Gonzalez Mares.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. K5C, SBC number 1.12-23, pre-qualified pool of architects and landscape architects.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student Board Member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 5D, SPC number 7.9-23, request to call for bid for the portable repair project.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
All right, Student Board Member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K5E, SPC number 10.3-23, Citizens Bond Oversight Committee membership applications to measure A2 general obligation bond.
I'll move to approve, but I have a short comment.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Trustee Chu.
So I think last time when we got the presentation of the Measure H CBOC, it was very informative and shows how important it is. So I just want to thank all of the members who are accepting this very important job on the A2 CBOC. So thank you.
And I'm not seeing any other comments. Student board member Gomez.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. 5F, SPC number 11.3-23, request for services with KYA Group for TK Classroom Refresh Project.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Okay. Student board member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K5G, SPC number 13.1-23, request to purchase backpack hooks for 8 elementary schools.
Move to approve.
Second.
First by trustee Chu, second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. K5H, SPC number 16.48-17, request for architectural services from Aon Landscape Architecture.
I enthusiastically motion to approve this.
Second.
First, an enthusiastic first by trustee Chu, a second by trustee Riser. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Student board member Gomez. Aye. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. Okay. On to informational services. On to informational 1, general services, 1A, curriculum and student committee. I don't think there was a meeting.
We didn't meet.
Yeah, there was no meeting, so nothing to discuss. And then L1B is facility and technology, also no meeting. L1C, finance did not meet. And L1D, policy did not meet. So we will move on to L2, human resources, L2A, quarterly report on Williams uniform complaints. Mr. Michaels, do we have any public comment on this item?
There is no public comment on this item.
Is there any discussion from the board on this topic? Seeing none, we will move on. All right, on to item M, additional suggestions and comments from board members and the superintendent.
I have 2 quick things. One is there will be an in-person meeting in Fuller Park from 11 to 1 on Saturday for anyone interested in becoming part of the gun violence prevention movement. We had 199 mass shootings in 128 days of this year. And there is a mental health fair for youth. I believe you have to be either 18 and under or 22 and under. Maybe it's in the 20s, but no real grown-ups allowed. But at Kennedy Park from 1 to 4, sponsored by Mentis and Team Connect. And they're going to be a really fun opportunity for kids with all kinds of mental health tools and strategies and things to try, acupuncture and massage and crafting and meditation. And just, I think it'll be a really cool thing. But no one in this room except for Sam is invited.
In future agenda items. My only request is that we make sure that we continue to get the yearly reports from the King Consulting reports. I feel like we skipped a year. I would like to have it just yearly. And then I will move on to item O, adjournment. I move that we adjourn.
Second.
First by myself, second by trustee Chu. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. The meeting is adjourned at 10:20.